Certainly learn.
This year, 337 recruits have completed training. That's a first-time pass rate of 99.7%, which is incredibly high.
So we have a philosophy on the ship called the Way of the Warrior Sailor. It argues that in order to create morale, you must love and value everybody.
This beam here came from HMS Indefatigable. The beams from the Armada were eventually integrated into the pub.
At BFBS Creative, we are creative storytellers. We are specialists in unravelling the untold, even from the most difficult locations. We help you reach the audiences you need to reach. From documentary interviews to addressing communication hurdles and crafting your content strategy, we can do it all. We thrive in the toughest environments, ensuring your stories are told brilliantly.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the RAF Storm Shadows channel. I am once again joined by the immeasurably enthusiastic Roman in the commentary box this evening, Roman. And as you can see on your screens there, it is the RAF Storm Shadows taking on the Army Esports side. A fascinating insight into what we might come to expect in the inter-services. But for tonight, it's the Armed Forces Dungeon League. Let's get this show started.
Carries this forward, gets 50 with Fraz. Ed, get into that one. Envy tucks it away. And as I say, they need an opening goal. They have managed to get one here, 1-0.
Frazic, though, does some nice defensive work. But P finds Cedric. Cedric finds Envy. Beautiful stuff from the RAF Storm Shadows. 2-0.
With a minute and a half left to go. Envy goes for a pass to P. P with a shot. P with a goal. Tucked away in the top left corner. 2-1 to the RAF Storm Shadows. And they are shining through here after the Army. They've struggled to rotate. They struggled to get into position after kickoff. And P managing to give the RAF Storm Shadows that advantage
Didn't
again.
have a lot to work with, didn't have a lot of the goal to aim at, but he put it in the one place that it was going to go to, and Cedric makes it 3! And the floodgates are beginning to open here for the RAF Storm Shadows. A great 30-second burst, and now they've just got to hold it, or even go for more.
Air power wins matches in Rocket League, and you can't tell me otherwise, as Ed will tuck that one away, and the Storm Shadows have the advantage here with 3 minutes left to go. Nothing about air superiority there. P just managing to get a pass across. A very strong 50 indeed, and Ed had an entire net to tuck it away. 1-0 to the Storm Shadows, and the Army, they've been crumbling since game 3. Control this one and take it downfield, intercepted immediately by Ed, and this pressure from the Storm Shadows has been relentless, and Envy, the man from Cosford, will tip this away to make it 2-0, and almost an improbable comeback for the Army to try and pull off with 90 seconds left to go. The way they've been playing, the RAF Storm Shadows, they're currently unstoppable.
The RAF Storm Shadows, an incredible goal. They've done it again, and it's 2-0 now, and it's 3-0 now. The lead looking unassailable.
Away, gives Ed some time here on the sidewall, gets it up. P is on the backboard lurking. Is Ed going to get this one away? No, but Envy's going to be there. Envy's going to tuck it away. It's 4-1 to the RAF Storm Shadows. Rose-tinted glasses are on, and I don't care. It is game over. The RAF have trampled the Army. 4-1, could be 5-1. I don't care what the scoreline is. It's going to be game over with 1:06 left to go. You're going to have me in the commentary box. I'm going to be hyping the boys the entire time, not just the Storm Shadows, the Sentinels and the Shadows as well, as this game comes to a close with almost me tucking away a very nice shot there, just drops at the death. Storm Shadows 3, the Army Sparrows 1, and well, the Storm Shadows did it in fashion late on.
Hi, I'm AS1T Stelios Elia. In-game, I'm known as SE1997.
Corporal Elliot Greenwood, and in-game I'm known as G-Wood.
My name is AS1 Tech Edward Nussyweight, otherwise known as Cedric in-game.
It's already looking like they've upped the bar from last year, which is a really tough job to even do that. We are looking forward, not just myself, but as a team, to going out on that stage and representing Royal Air Force as best as we can.
Playing up on a stage like this is the first time. We had a thing called Rank A, where it was all the top players played against each other, and then we picked our teams. I've finally made it into the first team after a lot of hard work.
Both my teammates are really talented. We gel super well. Really looking forward to playing with them on stage and seeing what we can do.
From my end, the leadership were outstanding, no issues at all.
Not just from my own personal line management, but also the Royal Air Force Esports Association backed us very well, I should say, and made sure we had all the support we needed to get here, and they're always a phone call away if we do need them for anything.
Really excited to play Coast Guard. It'll be closer than everyone thinks after playing, then we think we stand a bit of a fighting chance.
The second Air Force team, emphasis on second now. We're a solid team, three really good players who could do some damage, for sure.
Although we are in different forces across NATO, we are colleagues, so it's nice to meet them in person and just have a laugh and play against them and hopefully beat them as well.
You ready? AFG, you're washed.
Coast Guard, you ain't as good as you think you are. We're coming for you.
Space Force, stick to mini golf.
We're going to win it.
No, we're not.
We're going to win it. We're going all the way.
I thought it was good until I saw them play. The Americans will never hear the end of it if we end up winning somehow.
Look, I'll shake on it. You know me, I don't drink. I will drink heavily if we win.
That the pressure put down. Stelios with no boost thrown into the corner will be wildly out of position. G-Wood needs to put it to the air. Don't go towards net on this one. Instead, Cedric go for the double touch. It's a beautiful finisher. 19 seconds into OT, and the RAF already going to match point.
That's right, boys. Once again, I'm joined alongside none other than Stelios. Stelios, at the very start of that match, you pointed out the fact that the strategy was aggression, was confidence. Do you personally feel like you guys delivered on all fronts?
Yeah, it was a series that we just stuck to the plan and executed it to perfection. I felt really good myself. I felt the other boys also played their part individually, and then we executed the plan as a team together. It was almost perfection, which means we've got to live up to that in the next round as well. So we can't just rest on our laurels. We've got to take it forward.
Well, for you personally, you were the first one to score goals across, I think, 2 or 3 of those matches that we saw there as well. Was that part of the game plan for you to be the force of nature, as it were, in this matchup?
I'm certainly a force of nature, but usually not in front of goal. It's usually Cedric or G-Wood that are bagging the goals when it counts. However, the way we're set up is, it doesn't matter who has the chance to score. It could be any one of us. The way we play, we create spaces for anyone to score. And it just so happened that it was me that was in the prime position to put it in the back of the net, and thankfully I did.
Half, but not for too much longer. Sentinels have broken free, although only momentarily. Now into the retreat. Cedric and Asher, not for the first time today, failing to meet the problem at the source.
That's Cedric though. Air gets just the tiniest of the resets on that ball, but it pushes it just over the edge where Asher cannot grab it.
And there's an equal response from Samet. Asher in the interception, but that's straight to T-Wood. Oh, and he shoots just past the post. Stelios! 2-2 at last. Another sucker punch. How strong is that proverbial jawline? And actually, you can see the severity of the situation. There's no smiles. And Samet, again, waits it out. Stelios now looking for Cedric. Oh, that's a beautiful layoff.
For Storm Shadows, of course, we're going to be showcasing the other lower bracket match as well. It's going to be coming up on your screen later on. Just a quick cut where there's only one life for the team and there is no field for mistakes.
I feel like it's easier said than done. I also worry that this might be too simple a statement to make of the situation, Jam. For the Sentinels, is it really as clear-cut as get it? And all the while, time being burned off the clock. Still 2-1 Sentinels, but that's going to change very quickly. I feel like I put on my crown, Jam. The King of Cursed is back.
For Shaman as well to look and demo or bump the player out of the way. Not on that attempt. I'm pretty sure some Shadows will be thinking about it. That's certainly one thing on Cedric's mind though. Golds, golds, and more golds.
And Cedric actually just lays off, allows Samez the room, but then wiggles his way through all on his own. Cedric to G-Wood! It's a save, but it's not enough! 2-1 Storm Shadows!
The ball caroms off the oncoming player with a series-winning goal scored just 30 or so seconds before the end of the game. It is the Royal Air Force Storm.
Spirited a performance as that was. Let us not forget that they have now tripled their game output in a single. Do apply. And that resource will eventually run out in the form of boost. Oh, very sneaky from Cedric. Lovely flick over the top of everybody. Oh, it's a spectacular from Cedric.
Space Force just a little bit. Exchange of long-range efforts, but I do love the proactivity and Reed's shot. Cedric denies it. Crossbar post out.
That is fortuitous. And now they're down the other side with a potential opportunity. G-Wood snuffed at the near post. 3 minutes plus! And they don't need the 3 minutes plus, just shy of. Cedric with a stunner. And it's match point for the Storm Shadows. Doubling up now. This suits Space Force just fine. 1-0 advantage. A slender one, yes, but one nonetheless. And Space Force relying a lot more on demos, but who needs demos, Jam? Where you've got G-Wood, what a redirect. Sometimes you got to throw that experience out the window and play the game in front of you. But I'm not going to commit to a certain way of thinking. I'll let you as the audience decide. And I'll let these players on the pitch decide. I tell you what, G-Wood is getting a bit of a handle, a bit of a knack on creating these goals out of nothing.
They do so gracefully.
You know, Space Force press not as intensive as I would like to see personally, and that's allowing the Storm Shadows not just time on the ball to get out of defense, but to get shots away, Jam, and Stelios has just put them ahead.
Cannot get it out as far as the midfield line. They still keep on returning. Cedric sees that there's just no opportunity for Ethan to raise it down from his head, and Cedric wins it in overtime for Royal Air Force. A 7-game thriller with 1 extra minute of the overtime. He is the absolute star player of that Storm Shadow side.
The runners-up rise. RAF Storm Shadows continue their lower bracket journey. The Space Force valiant until the end. But in the end, it was Cedric, a man who made a couple of mistakes earlier on, a man who let Space Force back into the game, who truly struts his stuff when it matters most. Wow.
Stelios, the most animated.
Stel, talk to me, because we had a few overtimes in this series as a whole. Game number 3 in particular, you were looking incredibly stressed. So comms between your team, I'm assuming, were a little bit chaotic.
At times it was very, very chaotic. Yeah, you're right. You're spot on with that. And in those moments, it's actually Cedric, or as we know him, Ed, who takes a second just to scream out comms, 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 comms. And then in that moment, we snap back in from whatever dream we were in previously, and we're back in, and we're locked in again. And it happened on so many occasions. You would not believe where he was trying to calm us all down and get back into the game mentally wise. And in the end, as you can see, it paid off.
It absolutely did. But you know what, Stel? In particular, yourself and your team are big on demo reviews, actually putting in the grind, the time and effort that it takes to perform well on stage as well. I'm pretty sure you're one of the only teams to actually do that here. So yesterday's kind of debugs, shall we say, after the performances, what did you guys get up to?
We found a lot of misrotations and a lot of gaps in communication as well. Like when you're watching the replays, you know what you were saying at the time. You can recall it pretty well. And we found a lot of gaps in our comms. We weren't saying things clearly enough or concise enough, and we were getting confused and double committing. I would say the reason why we have to do such a thing is because we don't have, at least I don't have, the skill level that some of these opponents have, like these great American players and even the French. So we've got to make up for it in some way, right? And replay analysis is one of those ways that we do it.
And I was actually chilling there with the rest of your team, watching the game as well. And I gotta say, these boys need some kind of oomph to them, because their support for you boys has been incredibly quiet. So this is your opportunity to have words of wisdom with them.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the BFBS Esports Pro League, and tonight is a bit unusual for a multiple sets of reasons, but we'll get there. Because Qualifier 3 is about to begin here, but we do have, of course, well, the old and the new, the one that needs to be thrown away, and of course the very much loved and treasured one. He is blushing at the back here because the last 30 minutes I've been listening to everybody tell him how wonderful and loved he is. Stelios, first of all, how are you doing before I make you any more redder?
Yeah, you've done a good job there, Danny. I'm doing very well, thank you, and good evening to you as well. It's going to be another amazing week of Rocket League here in Qualifier number 3. And Danny, these qualifiers are going by at a rate of knots. I can't believe we're already on the third one. And there are, again, some really good teams action tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, it should be absolutely fantastic as well. We've been talking about people signing up and everything as well too in the last two qualifiers. Is there an even group sort of stage as well for the first time? And it's nice to somewhat have as this as a problem. The admins maybe less so here still. That a buy needed to have been added into one of the groups, exceeding so far the sign-ups. This is the first time we've punched that high up in terms of numbers too.
Yeah, it is, and for the first time, it's a 7-team group structure. Obviously, with 3 groups having a buy, and Group D having 7 teams, and it's really tightly seeded as well. In that Group D, that's going to be an intriguing battle. I'm seeing cadet teams signed up. I'm seeing the Lossy Phantoms signed up again, which I'm looking forward to seeing in action if at all possible. And we have the Storm Shadows, we've got the Tempests, the Falcons. I don't actually think the Falcons are back in as well. Plenty of upset potential tonight. Will it happen? We've seen some major drama last week in the last qualifier, so I'm sure that can be repeated again.
Well, certainly so, and a fair bit was going around in terms of what has happened, what isn't. But should have our match shortly. We are waiting for one team, just to let everybody be aware of what is currently happening right now. But the pleasure is, the fact is that based on the scenes and everything else, and I'm going to ask a very poisonous question. The Aria of Storm, yes, the Aria of Storm Shadows. Sitting outside of the top 2. Yes, they're still in the top 8, but far from where they belong here.
Yeah, it's been a rough run for the RS top side, the RS Storm Shadows, and coming in at 3rd seed this week, which again is a downward slope for where they were last week, obviously being top seed, and it's how they react this week. Last week it was a major disappointment for the Royal Air Force's finest, leaving at the quarter-final stage against a team that they should be beating on paper, of course. Full credit to Omnia, who were, I watched the replays back; they were absolutely incredible, and in the end deserved their win. It was a reverse sweep for those who didn't quite catch up on what happened. The RF were comfortable 2-0 to the good in that series. I think they won 7-2 in one of the games, 5-2 in game 2, and suddenly Omnia just turned it on, and the Storm Shadows just didn't expect it. The result, well, Storm Shadows had to play for place number 5, which they were able to secure, still scoring points on the board, but falling behind the race for first place and that top seed spot going into the September LAN at a location still yet to be announced.
Well, certainly so, and just to give an update, we are already potentially maybe shifting towards here, but we might as well take a bit of time here for everybody to get involved in terms of where things are here. We might as well talk about the full qualification in terms of it still here. We might as well briefly talk about the top 2 Falcons and No Boosters Vibes, the current sort of top 2 seedings here. Where do you want to start the conversation of? Is it, was it the Falcons' last finals that they lost here? What's the expectations? Where do you want to go here? Because, you know what, I think we can have about 4 or 5 talking points on them alone so far.
Well, it's, the Falcons, I think it's a good place to start. A team that have, 3 exceptional players in their ranks. I've seen them grow from, I don't want to use the word uncompetitive, but from a good side that was struggling against, the military's best to now being a dominant force and being the team to beat. And we did see No Boosters Vibes managed to take them down last week in that dramatic final, where it seemed that the Falcons were almost, they had been figured out for the first time. So for them this week, it's about, can they add variety to their arsenal of in-game tactics? We know they can play as a team so well. We know they have a firm defensive foundation at their disposal. But what happens now that teams are learning how to play against them? Now, of course, there is a caveat to that. Only the top teams are learning how to play against them. They're still a force to reckon with to every other team, and no doubt, Danny, they'll be, aiming for that top spot again. But now that they've been challenged and essentially figured out for the first time, it's how do they react? Do they adapt or do they sink?
That's a very much a good question, of course, but I think, of course, both sides at the top two sitting with 28 points, respectively, so we'll have that particular battle. The RAF, again, with Army and Tempest with 16 tied. However, I think we may as well touch on to the point here. England and RAF Shadows, it can't go on. Sparrows on 6, and New Gen and Crossbar Challenge, who we were meant to see on stream here, all below 10 points, and of course the last two just outside the top 8 still fairly open, of course, but the question does lie here: who's the sort of the favourite so far to move up into that top 8 or cement their position?
From Group C, we want to start off there. I'm going to go obviously with top 2 progressing through to that top 8. I'm going to give Danny, I'm going to give my Group C and Group D, and you can go ahead and give your Group A and Group B. But I want to say for Group C, obviously, I'm wearing the jersey. I'm going to say the RAF Storm Shadow is going to go 5-0 again, I reckon. Though they have a bit of a tougher group than they may have previously had, so they got a bit more work to do on that front. And it's going to be a shootout, I think, between the Sparrowhawks and the RAF Shadows for that second position. That's a juicy one for many reasons. Now, in week number 1, Qualifier 1, the Shadows took down the Sparrowhawks. Again, 4 positions above them in the seedings. But in Qualifier 2, the Sparrowhawks made quick work of the RAF Shadows. So that is going to be a very interesting battle. And essentially, that second versus third position game in that game will decide who joins the Storm Shadows in the top 8. That's, of course, just my humble opinion. The Bulldogs in that group as well enjoy their highest seeding yet. Nice to see them improving as well. And familiar faces, Los Polos and Manos, will be looking to do some damage of their own. Over in Group D, New Gens, who were seeded really high and still are seeded really high at 4th position, will be doing battle with Crossbar Challenge for the first 2 spots. Will they make it? I don't know, because last time they were pretty comfortably beaten, I want to say, without any disrespect to them. So hopefully now they've had time to settle in to, in front of the spotlight. Can they be better? We shall find out. Well, they'll be challenged by the RAF Cadets for and Crossbar Challenge for that position in top 8.
Certainly so, and it's an interesting sort of setup as well too. Before I do sort of look at the A and B here, I don't want to sort of bring on the fact that because the one I see here in the form of Stale here, Group C Shadows here should be maybe potentially looking revenge on the Sparrowhawks. I would say that will decide sort of that sort of second spot. But Group D, I think that one's potentially locked in already here in the form of the sort of the top 2 scenes based on the rankings. But I'll give you my top 2 for Group A and B, and but we might as well argue that the next potential matches on stream, we will have that hopefully shortly in the next 2-3 minutes here, which is no boosts, just vibes. And what? I think Immaculate Vibes is going to trip up again, similar to how they were last week. So Amelia would be my favourite of the top 2. And in Group B, Falcons, and I would suspect here, the Tempest will, this time around, will lock themselves into the top 2 here, but will be the Navy Orcas probably feeling a little bit hard done by.
Well, that Group B is set up so nicely, by the way. You have the Falcons, the RAF Tempest, 2 teams that have done battle so much over the last year in the inter-service scene as well. So much pride and bragging rights to play for, as well as the place in the top 8 between the 2 of them. And don't forget the Orcas as well. The Navy Orcas took the RAF Tempest to 2 consecutive overtimes the last time they played, and the Tempest come out ahead on both counts. But in overtime, anything's possible. So the Orcas will be hoping that if they can achieve that again against Tempest, they can take the initiative in overtime this time round. But that Group B, is looking really good. I mean, there's all groups, to be honest, have some really nice matchups. And again, touching on Group A, I want to big up Lossy Phantoms. I'm currently sat in the Lossy Phantoms Esports arena right now. A fantastic facility. And again, I must thank them for having me and allowing me to broadcast from here. Sat with a few of their players right now, and they're feeling good. You know, I've given a bit of a pep talk, given them their realistic expectations for Group A. They can be eyeing up the UVG Demons, and we'll have a look as well. And who knows, if they can beat them two and have a shootout against Omnia, it'll be very tough. But if they can pull it off, they would make history for RAF Lossymouth and be the first Lossy team to make a top 8. That will be one for the books.
Well, it's going to be very much a difficult task as well. I believe they're up in terms of their first match as well as looking at No Boost Just Vibes, the top seed that we mentioned, the 28th point,
one.
And of course defending champion. So it goes back to that debate still in terms of what would you rather have, playing against the top seed early or their last match. I would prefer to get them out of the way first, but it seems like they've got no choice on the matter here.
No, and like I say, a lot of new names this week as well. Teams that we haven't seen before, Danny. And I want to shout out some with the Cypriot flag, by the way. There's many teams that are representing the Cypriot flag.
I wonder why that would be still.
Well, it's certainly not because of me, but as you may or may or not know, there are plenty of British forces serving in Cyprus, and we'll have children that are officially born in Cyprus, and of course playing from there. I can see why they're representing the flag. I'm certainly not going to complain.
Certainly not here, and many of them may not have been born when Greece won the Euros in 2004, which would be a scary prospect there still.
Very scary, and one that I don't like to think about, to be honest. But I mean, if we are going to go back to it, what a tournament that was. And so, I mean, just to confirm, Danny, can you explain to our viewers what the first game of the night is?
Well, certainly so. We have slightly adjusted the schedule on the fly here. It will be, of course, the Foxes versus the Royal Navy Orcas as well, which would be the Group B that we have adjusted towards here. By the looks of it, one team just wasn't quite ready. Maybe a wee bit stage fright, so you know what, fair enough. We'll move to somebody who is a little bit more comfortable still. And we do have one team here ready and waiting, so I would love to sit here. Normally in the professional scene, these casters here, they just keep talking and talking and talking. We want to get the game going, but one team hasn't shown up just yet.
And it can happen. There's been obviously an update as well. For those of you not aware, Season 19 of Rocket League has just kicked off. So a lot of the players will be getting back from work or school or whatever they're doing with their day to a 10 gigabyte download. So I'm sure that can explain some of the absence, which is why we have had a slightly delayed start here to qualifier number 3. But as you can see, we are about to kick things off with an exciting game. And it's the Royal Navy Orcas, by the way, that I'll have my eyes on, because they have a couple of really good players. Cluster comes to mind, a player that all their attacks seem to go through, all their goals seem to go through. I'm sure he'll be wanting to make a similar impact tonight than he has done in qualifier 1 and 2.
Well, certainly so, and both sides are looking to make an impression here. We'll hope to see how that one particularly will be going. But for the first time this evening here, we can at least sit here and say that the match itself will be getting underway here. The best of 3 of round 1 of round 6. Do you know what? That's a nice way around here. We only had 5, but plenty of action coming around here. Both sides will have their particular go. And I think this is, serve me correctly here still, the Fox's first time on stream too.
I believe it is, and that's a good start from Brod, who's knocked that one into that bottom right. It's a nice early goal here for the Royal Navy Orcas. The bad diamond there just couldn't wrap his car around it, and you can see early stages of dominance here.
Certainly so, and that was simply one way moving around here. And don't want to be cruel to the Foxes here, but based on the way they went for the kickoff here, potentially low level here. They are, of course, sitting the 18th seed currently, so far away in terms of reaching that sort of top 8 spot here. The Royal Orcas looking at this as their first matchup, and might sit here and say it's an ideal start for them.
They may do, and they seem to have recovered after that early mistake that led to the Royal Navy first goal. And there goes the centre. Brod goes down towards Temps. Gets a nice save, Brod. off that right wall. Nice first touch. Looks infield towards Temps. He'll get there. He'll place the ball goalwards, and the bad Diamond. What a name, by the way. There on that backboard, defending really well. Keeps his team in it. You can see they're really struggling to get out of their own box here. And Temps' shot is a good one as well. Forced to cluster. Surely they'll make it too. It's relentless pressure. But at least for now, the Foxes are just able to repel them from the net.
Yes, and certainly so. And it's unfortunate. I'm just sort of counting the amount of cars onto the pitch here, and due to the 1-0 here, that's disconnect player for the Foxes, who are already suffering a trail in terms of the scoreboard. A man down as well, and you wish you had the ability to pause the game, but you don't, and you have unfortunately played from the horrible situations. But their opposition, I was going to say being Sporting not scoring, that didn't last too long, did it?
I don't know if it was either them being Sporting or them just missing some chances, but they really were going ham on that Fox's net. And eventually it's found its way through. And that is the gamble that you sometimes take when you're playing online tournaments and qualifiers. You can never account for PC crashes or lag. And unfortunately, competitive rules state that you must play on, especially in this particular case for BFBS. If you read the rules, after the first minute there is no restarts allowed, unless of course both teams agree. But again, if you're the Navy Orcas, you're going to take this all day long.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound old-fashioned, but used to be under the 60 seconds of the first goal, and the rules at one point back in what was 2015 was, it was 2 minutes, then I went down to 1 minute, and some tournaments it was 45 seconds. So it was nice to see the gradual sort of bits of things have happened, but it's unfortunate for them, and for their first showing it has not went well. But we did briefly mention it, the new update as well, and I've barely even seen the rewards this season. That's a surprise, because normally it's like a goal boost or explosion. So I wonder, will we see that particular night shot that was being talked about 2 or 3 days on the social media there?
Good point, Danny. I don't actually know what the rewards are. I haven't had time to look. Has anybody in the chat got their rewards yet for this season? If you do, are you able to let me know? Because I am kind of curious. Is it a goal explosion? Is it, obviously we get the standard title for GC. One thing that is for sure is Navy Orcas taking full control of this one, and well, I don't think, Danny, that they're going to let this slip. Remember, it is a best of 3 for tonight's series, so no margin for error really. And even if the Foxes are able to get their third back online before this game ends, they're going to struggle. I think they're going to struggle to get back into this one, because the Orcas are looking dominant. And speaking of the third, Fox has indeed returned. And maybe the next 2 minutes will spell out how the rest of this series will go. That's a nice challenge from Diamond, but it won't be enough to get his team back into it.
Certainly so, and sort of just casting the memory back a little bit, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong here, it was Group B, similar to how we are here in the last match of the day. Here's the 5th goal runs on in here. Many immaculate vibes. It was a particularly close setup, and it required it essentially going down to near enough goal difference here, because I think the Falcons had the win, and it was a particular 3-way tie for the top 8 positioning too. If Falcons didn't sweep, it would have been a very sticky situation and potentially being knocked out.
Indeed, I have just, though, Danny, been informed that it is Wheels. It is Wheels as the reward for season 18. That's an interesting one.
I'm so glad that it was you here, because unfortunately with my speech impediment and my unfortunately Irish accent, wheel and wheels sound exactly the same here, and I didn't say the country, I mean the blue thing that lives in the ocean, but
that's a good. I didn't actually realize that's what you were talking about.
Oh no, I was talking about. I'm just saying here, it's just about the times I've been called on. Did you sit here and say wheel? No, it's the other one. No, it's just, yeah. So, it seemed like par, shar, and r. 3 words with my accent that shouldn't be said close together. But speaking about being close together, 5 goals onto the board here. Not necessarily a bad day here for the Royal Navy side, but I think, let's be fair here, we weren't expecting to come out of this game with so far other than the win.
In fairness to the Foxes, since regaining their 3rd man, I don't think they've been that bad. Whether that's the Orcas from the Navy taking the foot off the gas a little bit, or it's just good play from the Foxes. That was a chance. Can they find a goal? That was C2V at that near post. Couldn't cut it enough to find the net. And they're coming forward. They're giving it a go now. They have improved, Danny. And at the start of the next game, who knows, if they can get an early goal, settle into it a little bit more, they might have a little bit more joy. But certainly game one, I mean, deservedly going to the Navy, they've been dominant. They made full use of that 2 versus 3 because of the disconnect. And they'll be looking, if they can, to extend that lead beyond to game 3 and give themselves a nice, easy first series win.
Well, certainly so. And, you know, it's unfortunate when you look at things and somewhat go and, you know, how do you play those situations? Some teams you look at and sort of go, well, when we're sort of 3-2 down here, you know, most of the time you're talking about it's one mistake or one opportunity and you just have to delay it. But in these situations, you can't afford to essentially, you know, how can I put it? You just have to get on with it. There's no point in sitting there sort of naturally delaying things.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you just need to recover from as a team as fast as you possibly can, because, well, if you don't, you're gonna, and you dwell on it, you're gonna suffer in the very next game, which comes at you very fast. 60 seconds is all you have in between games to settle your mind, to settle your blood pressure. And if you're not able to recover, you're gonna really, really struggle. But at least for now, they've already improved. They haven't conceded straight off the kickoff. It's the Bad Diamond getting beat by Temps RL. Cluster looks in field. UK Fox looking for his teammate. That's nice passing, and they come forward now. Get a nice 50. It's bouncing in a dangerous position here. Brod has to go up. That's a nice win by C2V. There is danger here for the Orcas. Fox goes up, fakes it. Can C2 put it home? And it's a miss, but I must say, Danny, a much improved start here from the Foxes.
It's a good attack. There might be an opportunity they might decide to rue against here, and that will be Cluster's attempt and save up the line by the, in quotation, the Bad Diamond. But is there anything such as one here? Second save, but unfortunately pushed over the line.
Good play in the end by Temps, forcing it home after that really awkward pass from Brod to deal with. Flashed it straight across the face of goal and gave a little hope to the defender that will just try to get anything in the way of the shot, but it wasn't to be. And the Foxes finally, after being so resilient here early on in the first minute, are beaten, and they go 1-0 down. It's all about the response now. It's a nice bump by Brod, and wow, that could have easily been 2. And the Foxes not out of danger yet, but they come forward now. C2 looks infield. Diamond was lurking, but he couldn't quite get there. Brod will go up again. Oh, it's a lovely flicked effort by Cluster. Set back to him by Brod. Goes 1-on-1 with C2, and it's into the back of the net. It's 2-0. And the Foxes really have it all to do now.
Certainly so, and it just shows you that essentially top equality. And knows the Orcas may have not have reached that point outright in their illustrious career as a team, but you just know that they will eventually have an opportunity or two with the next sort. Well, this qualifier in the 5 that will be going towards it here. This is, you know, Fox's real attempt here to try to learn and develop naturally here. That ball being pushed on forward here. The Bad Diamond moves across here, and a touch here hasn't naturally worked out here. The Bad Diamond with the save as well too.
Infield to Cluster, gets there ahead of C2. Fox combines with Diamond, gets the Foxes up the pitch a little bit now, a little bit of breathing space. The ball centres. Brod will rise and beat C2 again. The Orcas looking dominant, I must say. There's no look like there's a way back in this one for Foxes, unless, of course, there's late drama. We're approaching the halfway mark now. Temps beat into it by C. I mean, they've grown into it. They have really grown into this game. And I think they deserve a goal. And I think if they can get one goal on the ball at least, they stand a chance here at least of surprising the Orcas. That's a nice flicked effort, and what a save it was from Temps to keep that one out. So dangerous, that flick, but it was well saved.
I'm going to disagree with you, not in terms that they deserve a goal sort of type argument, but I think their opposition don't want to give them the goal. You know, you're sort of going, if you're going to get it, you're going to have to make sure that you beat us, and you're going to have to do it convincingly as well. It's not going to be a sympathy one either.
don't see you as the type of caster to give too much sympathy, Danny, I must say, knowing you over the years now, but it's nice that you're trying. I can respect that. Diamond comes across. It's a nice flicked effort infield, and his teammate was there to pounce on it, but it was blocked. I think it was Temps out of that time, and Cluster comes forward. Diamond knocks it away to his right-hand side. Broad, nice first touch. Infield again. Temps drops it down. This is surely going to be a free shot at goal. Cluster rises. Couldn't quite divert it on net though. The pressure's still inside Fox's half. I wonder if they're going to be able to escape this pincer-like pressure from the Orcas. They drop it down. Fox demoed for his troubles, but it bounces kindly for Diamond. Has enough time to clear the ball for his team. Get them up the field a little bit. Release some of that pressure that has been hounding this Fox's side.
Not in terms of going to do too far here, really. If the Foxes sort of can't string that extra pass in or a sort of powerful shot here, it's going to allow essentially their opposition to drop back cover and continue with the counter, and they have done that consistently. Third goal runs in of similar kind here.
Nice finish. Drops it down. And that's one of the number one golden rules of a football striker, by the way, for those of you who watch football at a high level. When you're a striker in the box, heading it down below the keeper gives them so much trouble, and that's exactly the technique that was used there. Applied perfectly in Rocket League for 3-0 as we enter the final minute of play now. And although there's been significant improvement from the Foxes, I don't see it as enough to trouble this Orca side, who really have been dominant. And they'll be now beginning to look ahead at what's to come for their chances of making it into the top 8. I believe for the first time, I don't think we've seen an Orca side yet, Danny, correct me if I'm wrong, in the top 8.
I don't believe we have. And it's a tad unfortunate. They came close twice in terms of especially this roster, but it's been the Tempest, I think, on both occasions, just squeezing them out.
Indeed. They're certainly looking likely to be in that top 8 as it stands with this level of performances. I think their roster's changed as well now. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with them, and if they do make the top 8, what kind of impact they can make on some really good teams. But C2 goes steaming across the Orcas net to try and get something on it, to get them at least one goal. Some joy at least, but it wasn't to be. And the Orcas, the ball will drop. It will make its way down. It's 4-0, it's 5-0 in both games. And I don't think anybody could argue with the result here. They've been dominant, they've deserved it. And it's all about now how they can push on to game 2 to maintain their 100% record, and how the Foxes can maintain their composure and calmness to bounce back. Remember, Danny, it was also their first time playing on stream, so hopefully that settled them down a little bit.
I don't think any side would be sitting there looking at them and be begrudging on that one. It's difficult to come into that environment and to play against a side that, with all fairness, you're expected to lose. That's no disrespect, that's just odds and percentages, whether it's ranking how way you want to, artificially, sort of put a value to a team. It's how much belief do you have. The Foxes knew this is an uphill match, but as you said, yes, they did grow into the game. Yes, they did have opportunities. Did they take the most of it? No, but again, that's what they're there for. They're meant to be taken and learnt from.
Indeed, and that does see the end of series number 1 of this evening. There are potentially, depending on how time goes, maybe even 6 series total tonight, including that first one. And it's all about now the teams in the other groups. I'm sure, Danny, we'll have time when we come back from the break to touch on the results from Group A, B, D, and C, the ones that we didn't see on stream. But yeah, I mean, for now, I think we'll be taking a very short break. So get comfortable, get some snacks, and we'll see you shortly.
BFBS Forces news, join KFOR patrols in the north of Kosovo.
We're here to create a safe and secure environment for the people in Kosovo and the people of Kosovo.
Our job, fly and fight from the home base, and we've got to be able to do that in whatever conditions.
This training is mutually beneficial to both sides. For the riflemen themselves, it's about getting that valuable training in the desert.
At the heart of Lympstone Parade Square, the King's Squad, and there could be no more special guest of honour than His Majesty the King.
And whilst I'm not moving the controls at all, I can certainly learn from what I'm seeing as to how a manoeuvre should be flown.
This year, 337 recruits have completed training. That's a first-time pass rate of 99.7%, which is incredibly high.
So we have a philosophy on the ship called the way of the warrior sailor. It argues that in order to create morale, you must love and value everybody.
This beam here came from HMS Indefatigable. The beams from the Armada were eventually integrated into the pub.
At BFBS Creative, we are creative storytellers. We are specialists in unravelling the untold, even from the most difficult locations. We help you reach the audiences you need to reach. From documentary interviews to addressing communication hurdles and crafting your content strategy, we can do it all. We thrive in the toughest environments, ensuring your stories are told brilliantly.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the RAF Storm Shadows channel. I am once again joined by the immeasurably enthusiastic Roman in the commentary box this evening, Roman. And as you can see on your screens there, it is the RAF Storm Shadows taking on the Army Esports side. A fascinating insight into what we might come to expect in the inter-services. But for tonight, it's the Armed Forces Dungeon League. Let's get this show started.
Carries this forward, gets 50 with Fraz. Ed, get into that one. Envy tucks it away. And as I say, they need an opening goal. They have managed to get one here, 1-0.
Frazic, though, does some nice defensive work. But P finds Cedric. Cedric finds Envy. Beautiful stuff from the RAF Storm Shadows. 2-0.
Approximately a minute and a half left to go. Envy goes for a pass to P. P with a shot. P with a goal. Tucked away in the top left corner. 2-1 to the RAF Storm Shadows. And they are shining through here after the Army. They've struggled to rotate. They struggled to get into position after kickoff. And P managing to give the RAF Storm Shadows that advantage
Didn't
again.
have a lot to work with. Didn't have a lot of the goal to aim at. But he put it in the one place that it was going to go to. And Cedric makes it 3. And the floodgates are beginning to open here for the RAF Storm Shadows. A great 30-second burst. And now they've just got to hold it or even go for more.
Air power wins matches in Rocket League, and you can't tell me otherwise as Ed will tuck that one away, and the Storm Shadows have the advantage here with 3 minutes left to go. Nothing about air superiority there. P just managing to get a pass across. A very strong 50 indeed, and Ed had an entire net to tuck it away. 1-0 to the Storm Shadows, and the Army, they've been crumbling since game 3. To control this one and take it downfield, intercepted immediately by Ed, and this pressure from the Storm Shadows has been relentless, and Envy, the man from Cosford, will tuck this away to make it 2-0, and almost an improbable comeback for the Army to try and pull off with 90 seconds left to go. The way they've been playing, the RAF Storm Shadows, they're currently unstoppable.
The RAF Storm Shadows, an incredible goal. They've done it again, and it's 2-0 now, and it's 3-0 now. The lead looking unassailable.
Gives Ed some time here on the sidewall, gets it up. P is on the backboard lurking. Is Ed going to get this one away? No, but Envy's going to be there. Envy's going to tuck it away. It's 4-1 to the RAF Storm Shadows. Rose-tinted glasses are on, and I don't care. It is game over. The RAF have trampled the Army 4-1, could be 5-1. I don't care what the scoreline is. It's going to be game over with 1:06 left to go.
You're going to have me in the commentary box. I'm going to be hyping the boys the entire time, not just the Storm Shadows, the Sentinels and the Shadows as well. As this game comes to a close with almost P tucking away a very nice shot there, just drops at the death. Storm Shadows 3, the Army Sparrows 1, and well, the Storm Shadows did it in fashion late on.
Hi, I'm AS1T Stelios Elia. In-game, I am known as SE1997.
Corporal Elliot Greenwood, and in-game I'm known as G Wood.
My name is AS1 Tech Edward Nussey-Waite, otherwise known as Cedric in-game.
It's already looking like they've upped the bar from last year, which is a really tough job to even do that. We are looking forward, not just myself, but as a team, to going out on that stage and representing the Royal Air Force as best as we can.
Playing up on a stage like this is the first time. We had a thing called Rank A, where it was all the top players played against each other, and then we picked our teams. I've finally made it into the first team after a lot of hard work.
Both my teammates are really talented. We gel super well. Really looking forward to playing with them on stage and seeing what we can do.
From my end, the leadership were outstanding, no issues at all.
Not just from my own personal line management, but also the Royal Air Force Esports Association backed us very well, I should say, and made sure we had all the support we needed to get here, and they're always a phone call away if we do need them for anything.
Really excited to play Coast Guard. It'll be closer than everyone thinks after playing them. We think we stand a bit of a fighting chance.
The second Air Force team, emphasis on second now. They're a solid team, 3 really good players who could do some damage for sure.
Although we are in different forces across NATO, we are colleagues, so it's nice to meet them in person and just have a laugh and play against them and hopefully beat them as well.
You ready? AFG, you're washed.
Coast Guard, you ain't as good as you think you are. We're coming for you.
Space Force, stick to mini golf.
We're going to win it.
No, we're not.
We're going to win it. We're going all the way.
I thought it was good until I saw them play. The Americans will never hear the end of it if we end up winning somehow.
Look, I'll shake on it. You know me, I don't drink. I will drink heavily if we win.
That the pressure put down. Stelios with no boost thrown into corner will be wildly out of position. G-Wood needs to put it to the air. Don't go towards net on this one. Instead, Cedric go for the double touch. It's a beautiful finisher. 19 seconds into OT, and the RAF already going to match point.
That's right, boys. Once again, I'm joined alongside none other than Stelios. Stelios, at the very start of that match, you pointed out the fact that the strategy was aggression, was confidence. Do you personally feel like you guys delivered on all fronts?
Yeah, it was a series that we just stuck to the plan and executed it to perfection. I felt really good myself. I felt the other boys also played their part individually, and then we executed the plan as a team together. It was almost perfection, which means we've got to live up to that in the next round as well. So we can't just rest on our laurels. We've got to take it forward.
Well, for you personally, you were the first one to score goals across, I think, 2 or 3 of those matches that we saw there as well. Was that part of the game plan for you to be the force of nature, as it were, in this matchup?
I'm certainly a force of nature, but usually not in front of goal. It's usually Cedric or G-Wood that are bagging the goals when it counts. However, the way we're set up is it doesn't matter who has the chance to score. It could be any one of us. The way we play, we create spaces for anyone to score. And it just so happened that it was me that was in the prime position to put it in the back of the net, and thankfully I did.
In half, but not for too much longer. Sentinels have broken free, although only momentarily. Now into the retreat. Cedric and Asher, not for the first time today, failing to meet the problem at the source.
That's Cedric though. Air gets just the tiniest of the resets on that ball, but it pushes it just over the edge where Asher cannot grab it.
And there's an equal response from Samet. Asher in the interception, but straight to T-Wood. Oh, and he shoots just past the...
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the BFBS Esports Pro League. It is, shall we say, truly getting underway here. With, do you know what? It's strange. It's almost like somebody is sitting currently in an arena or an Orientonium where everybody has their eyes looking on them. I wonder who that would be still.
That may or may not be me. I am currently sat at the RAF Lossiemouth Esports Arena. I'm in the presence of the Lossiemouth Phantoms players, all of them really cool people, and I'm excited to see them in action very, very shortly. And just while they prepare to join in the game, their opponents for this evening in series number 3, technically, even though it's the second series you're watching, is the Unified Veterans Gaming Association, the UVG Demons, a team that I haven't seen on stream yet, and I'm also looking forward to seeing.
I think it's be fair to sit here and say a new team outright, but I think we need to, for us at least, the elephant into the room here still, that a former RAF Storm Shadows, it wasn't at the time with that particular name, white member as it was, and you know, we would have to go back to Insomnia when the last time he donned the jersey, so to speak, when he was playing for you.
Right, that is absolutely right. That was probably 2 years ago now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. My God, please do correct me. Was it more than 2 years ago? Wow, time has really flown.
We're at least looking at 3 here.
Do you remember which Insomnia number it was?
I-69, if off the top of my head.
Insomnia 69. Yes, I remember this one. I actually couldn't attend that one, but I remember sending the RAF Storm Shadows, or the RAF White team as it was back then, and I think it was Migra, Hopper, and Trinity. That is one of the OG Storm Shadows lineups that represented us at Insomnia 69. Migra, an absolute talent in the game. Whether or not he's had the time since leaving service to keep that level up, well, we're about to find out. But he is a player that can do some serious damage here to this Lossiemouth Phantom side if they are not careful and if they don't shut him down. So, you know, a lot to play for him tonight to show us his level and make his mark on the series. And well, knowing Migra personally as well, he's a great, great guy. It's nice to see him back on the stage where he belongs.
Well, certainly so, and you know, I'm good, Joe. Well, I don't mind sharing this because Noah Magri probably got a good laugh out of this. Was literally talked to him, I think 1 in the morning with him still, and he sat there and said to me, "If I'm on stream, make sure you say something nice about me."
And are you gonna do that?
No. No, that's not happening. Sorry, you know, I play 2s, I play 3s with him pretty much most weekends and days. No, that's not going to happen. Every missed opportunity and ball, he's going to know about it. So still, with that being the case, we do know their opposition quite well enough here.
There is a few familiar faces on the side of the Lossiemouth Phantoms this evening. There are currently 2 players that are trialists for the RAF Hurricanes, and for those of you who don't know, it's the 4th team of the Royal Air Force. 2 of those players, and it'll be Alex as number 1, and that man Sean Dyche back on the pitch again, and he as well is looking to make an impact after his excellent performance that we saw on stream in qualifier number 1, where we did see Lossiemouth Phantoms come within 1 win of making a top 8. This is a big game for them. If they can win this, they will most likely also beat. We'll have a look on paper, of course, and they'll be within 1 win of making top 8 for them if they can beat Omnia or Immaculate Vibe. It's going to be tough. There's no guarantees, but they've just got to do it 1 game at a time.
Well, certainly so, and with both sides particularly looking to have their say within the sunlight itself here. It is, well, game 2 or the second series underway, and you can tell when some teams aren't ready on stream. That sort of stutter up and sort of going, are we meant to go? Yeah, you got the okay, lads. Go, go, go. Or as lights away as the old F1 would have said back in the day. But by the looks of it, the veteran really is coming out here. Codename Jesse. I have not seen that name in about, 3 years.
The Codename Jesse used to be the game lead for British Army Rocket League, now no longer. A veteran herself now leads the way for the UVG Gaming Association. Massive shout out to them, doing some incredible work, by the way. Headed up by former group captain Dan Penter, formerly the association head for RAF Esports. Again, also a veteran now. Laid the very foundation for the RAF Esports Association scene that we now enjoy. You know, and of course the RAF Storm Shadows are underneath that umbrella directly. So we are direct beneficiaries of some of the early days of the work that he did. And it's the UVG looking to make an early impact here. That's a nice clearance from Karis. Zorba goes up. Oh, I love that name, by the way. Zorba, absolutely incredible. Again, being a Greek myself, I could appreciate a good Zorba dance. It's dangerous, but Migra able to clear, and Zorba will pick it up here.
Sorry, is that what it means? Dance?
Well, the Zorba comes from Zorba the Greek, a very famous Greek piece of music. That if you heard it, Danny, you'll 100% recognize it. It's a worldwide known bit of historical Greek music. So seeing Zorba, I can always appreciate that.
Oh, I know that it was a music piece, but I didn't realize that was the connection. No, I thought it had a different translation there, but clearly, I'll stick to mechanical flask and test tubes. That was clearly venturing out a million. May have been wrong here, but Joe, I'm surprised nobody's mentioned Greece won the Euros 2004. Or maybe that's maybe on the RAF Storm Shadows Twitch. They mention that all the time.
Yeah, we haven't quite found the right time to mention it, but I must say, this is a really evenly matched game. And again, it's for seeding. Yes, UVG have the highest seeding on paper, but right now, these two teams are excellently matched. And just there beating Zorba to the ball. Zorba goes up, knocks it away to his left, hangs awkwardly up there. Karis flies, knocks it down to Sean Dyche. It's Route 1 football again, and Michael with a save. So close. Good opener there for the Lossy Phantoms. They worked it well. They had the opportunity to shoot. They did get the shot on goal, but Michael was equal to it.
Certainly so. Dropping straight down here. Sean Dyche moving down. He has not been on stream since Qualifier 1, and it must be nice actually meeting the man in person. Does he still have the gravelly voice?
Do you know, the first time I spoke to Sean Dyche in person, he did tell me he was thinking about putting on a gravelly voice. But I said, well, I mean, I wouldn't have recognised you if you didn't, to be honest, because... but no, he is a lovely, lovely person in real life, and he doesn't carry the same gravelly voice as Sean Dyche, his counterpart, actually has. But he carries all of the determination, all of the almost British football heritage vibe you can possibly imagine in a person. That's a nice ball by Zorba. Dangerous position. And you can see UVG were able to clear their lines. Nice centre from Migra. Lord Demon's there. First shooting opportunity there for Lord Demon. He makes it count at the near post. And Lossy Phantoms find themselves 1-0 down.
Certainly so, and I didn't say I gave him anything credit or nice here, but the pass, to be fair, was exquisite. Drops it down, loses the space at the angle. Mind you, tighten up the squeeze it in probably. In most cases, wouldn't have got in here, but the veterans here still showing they've still got what it takes here, as Maggart once again falling and moves across here and taps it down here. And I'll be honest with you, about 3, potentially maybe 4 years, first ever cast them back in the land setting as well. It feels wrong not seeing the words Hopper and Trinity beside his name.
That was certainly one of the OG Storm Shadows lineups or White Team lineups as we saw back then. So you're right, it does feel weird in a way. That's a slight mistake there from Sean Dyche, but Zorba, Alex coming across, bailing his team out of trouble. Micah with a nice bang onto that back ball, but Sean Dyche deals with it. Nice interception as well. This will be dangerous here if Lord Demon can't get this one early in the near post. He does. Karis comes across, centres. Micah looking to relieve the pressure from the UVG, and he does just that as Sean Dyche. A nice soft touch to buy his team some precious moments with limited boost. Karis, nice flick. Doesn't have enough boost to save, and it's unfortunate for the Lossy Phantoms there. They did so well to buy themselves some time, but Lord Demon bags his brace of the game to give him 2-0.
Certainly so. The Lossy Phantoms currently sitting 1-1 with their standing in Group A, where unfortunately UVG, I believe they played a mini in the opening rounds here. Eventually they go on 2-0 here in the standings here. So on paper, Lossy Phantoms are currently higher, but I believe they may have got the bye here. But Lord Demon, unfortunately, getting the opportunity to tap that on here. But what will be the case is here, the first victory for the Demons themselves.
B now as the ball will touch the floor at 0 seconds. It's a good performance, I think, from both teams. They took a while to get to know each other there in those opening 3 minutes. Chances went either way. Could have easily been a goal for the Lossy Phantoms if they had taken that early chance. In the end, the UVG Demons made their chances count. It was Lord Demon, the beneficiary of 2 goals, served up by Migra, the former first-team player for the RAF, making his presence known. And well, Danny, we've seen it all before. We know his quality. He certainly showed it there, and maybe takes his position as the focal point of attack for the UVG Demons. Lossy Phantoms were really good, I thought, in those opening 3 minutes, and if they had taken that early chance, I think it would have been a different game one. They're not out of it yet. Plenty of time for them to come back here, and they will be wanting to make an instant impact, and maybe get an early goal just to ground them a little bit. And I think if they can get that early goal, they'll be just fine.
Well, it would be certainly a case on whether they can or not. But based on what we've seen so far here, it's more the case on can the Migra ability to dictate the game, will it be changed here? And we barely have spoken about the fact that we know only one element. You'll actually know all three of it. It's how good's the communication. Well, they're in the room right now. Are they communicating?
They are indeed, and I can tell you, they're in good spirits and they're enjoying their Rocket League. They're having a laugh as well, which is what it's all about at the end of the day. It's about connecting people in the forces together, you know, in the name of friendly competition. And, you know, with a bit of money
There's
on line
no
as well,
such
because
thing
why not?
as friendly.
We'll have to agree to disagree with that one. I think it could be friendly in some capacity, but at least for the Lossy Phantoms, they're having an absolutely phenomenal time here, live from the Esports room at RAF Lossymouth. And again, a massive shout out to them all. They've done an amazing job with this room. The facility is great, and it's nice to see their team making full use of it in qualifier number 3 here. But yes, to answer your question, they are for sure communicating, and importantly, Danny, they're in good spirits.
Certainly so, and as much as that sort of debate on whether they are or aren't, you know, it's always good to see when teams have that ability to stay calm or not here. But watching this matchup with I suppose a good friend. Yes, the competition's good as well too, but I'll tell you this here, knowing Migra that he's on stream, he won't want to lose because he knows he'll never hear the end of it.
Yeah, he's such a competitive guy, isn't he? Migra is, you know, one of the more competitive players that we've had in terms of pure sheer will to win. But you can see, you know, what it means with how he's playing. He's, you know, haven't played the game in a while, probably to the level that he might have used to play at, but it's not showing. Right now, he's looking like a very polished player, calm, and is for sure the focal point of the UVG Demons side, and similar to what I think Sean Dyche is for the Lossy Phantoms.
Certainly so. Both sides bringing their essentially main player onto the roster to either dictate things or to ring out the mechanics. Migra, however, will be that presence. We've spoken about it a fair bit, but Jesse and Lord Demon, we haven't barely said anything, and to some extent it can be a compliment as well. They haven't put a foot wrong to the point here where it's stuck out.
Indeed, Migra flicks that one central. It's a bit of a mistouch, man. It will be a chance here for Sean Dyche. Can he put it home? He can! And for the first time this evening, here on stream, the Lossy Phantoms take the lead.
I love when I say that they haven't put a foot wrong and that happens. I should get a lotto ticket some evening.
Maybe you should. Maybe you should, Danny.
Maybe I should, but what will be certainly not hitting the jackpot will be, unfortunately, Lord Demon and co, and their opportunity to tie the game out straight from the instant. Co-named Jessie sitting, waiting. She is unfortunately back in the way here. Karis, one touch. Should be potentially making that one swiped across here, and I think Lossy has a particular lineup, might be not afraid to attack it, but happy to hold a 1-0 lead.
That is going to be the key decision to make. Do they stick or do they twist? Can they maybe find the seconds, give them important breathing space? Because as you see, UVG will continue to come at them, and they're pushing for an equalizer here. Karis will turn. Limited boost, you can see him waiting for pads, and he does enough to show enough patience to get that full boost. Centers Lord Demon away. Right hand side, he comes away with it as well. Beats one, beats all, but in the post, Karis is there to clear. Karis is, by the way, surprising me in a very good way. He's playing some solid Rocket League, made some important touches there, especially in his defensive third, and he matches up with Sean Dyche and Alex quite well in the sense that he's quite defensively minded, but it's working for them. They're maintaining this 1-0 lead, which is the all-important stat at this moment in time, but Migra goes one-on-one with Alex, fakes, but Alex doesn't buy it. Beautiful defending in that one-on-one scenario, and the Lossy Phantoms, well, they're hanging on here.
Well, for the time being, but you sense here that the Demon lineup will eventually crack on through here, not getting the touch here, and and this is no disrespect here towards, well, essentially UBG Demons, but you can certainly tell the difference here between Lost Family, between the side that has played over 2-3 weeks, has the chemistry, compared to what we would refer to in the professional scene as a pickup team. It's just not clicking fully there, that sort of sense of, if you say back post or, deep or, certain, calm words, key words, you know where your teammate is. It's just not fully flowing here, and the disjoint between going upfield here for them, just not getting the finishing product off for them.
Remember, Danny, the Phantoms are ranked, seated below the UVG Demons. So on paper, this will be an upset if the Phantoms can pull this off. There's one goal in it right now. This will be dangerous. Codename Jess skies it, and Micah unable to convert as well. I say skies it, it was the wrong word. Puts it massively wide. And Micah couldn't follow it up at all with the shot on goal. It's disastrous here for the UVG Demons. That's such a positive first game. But right now, they're struggling to put it away. There'll be one more chance here. Micah with the shot. And he just flies straight past the ball. And crucially for the Lottymouth Phantoms, they back their first win of this evening's best of 3. 1-1, Danny. Everything to play for.
Certainly so, and I'm certainly going to enjoy this evening. Hello, Margaret. Did you remember you missed 2 clean opportunities to tie it 1-1? Yeah.
It's just one of those, Danny. It's just one of those. Remember, Margaret hasn't played the game for a while.
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. I'm not giving him an excuse tonight here still. He has been playing with me in around 15, 16 or 1700 MMR lobbies. He will not be getting an excuse to me tonight. Everybody else can, just not Margaret. That's unfortunately when you're good friends, you've been here together, you have that sort of poking his yes here and a bit of banter. He knows that I'm a stickler. I'm not going to give him an inch tonight. I expect big things for a big man. And unfortunately, he just didn't tap it in here.
Margaret, if you are watching this VOD back in 2-3 hours time, I just want you to know that I had no part in that. And I still think I think you're playing well, Margaret. I'm not going to lie, considering, the environment that you're in. And
it's the first time he's been on stream in about 3 years.
And you have to consider that, right? Someone who is used to being on stream, formerly of the RAF Storm Shadows back in the day, 2 years ago now, 3 years ago now, is used to playing under the spotlight, and then taken out of that for some time now. It's not going to be easy, and you can see he's having a little bit of growing pains when he get back into it. But even so, Danny, he still looks to be the focal point of threat for the Veterans Gaming Association Demons, and they need to utilize him more. I think they need to get him on the ball more in one-on-one situations. Which is something the Phantoms are doing well. They're shutting down the threat from Migra, I think. And there you go. You see Zorba with the demo. Sean Dyche with the center. Can they find a goal? It's Callis. What a shot. Sean Dyche follows up. It's off the post. Lossy Phantoms coming so close there to taking away the lead, but it wasn't to be. And at least for now, Danny, the UVG Demons are just about hanging on.
This is going to be the difference in terms of pushing up for the top 2 of qualifications through the group here, and Sean Dyson leather that one a little bit more, find the open space. It could have been much more here, but a decider neither way here. Both sides will know what it will mean here. That's the loose ball here. Lord Demon moves across here. It would just be the case on what position, what way you're going to approach it, and respectively, both sides have just decided to have 2 back, drop a deep demo open, and Lord Demon to tap it in. Very much the way we expected.
It was an empty net there for Lord Demon. He made no mistake, even with limited boost, and the whole goal to him. And Danny, as you very well know, that's not an easy chance to score at the best of times, especially when everybody's watching. You're on stream. Open nets can be your worst nightmare. That time round, he was okay with it. He dealt with the pressure. And the Phantoms 4-1 behind. The UVG Demons have that all-important early goal. And of course, both times either team has scored in this series, they've gone on to win that particular game. So that could be a big goal as far as records are concerned and patterns are concerned. And it will take some kind of a miracle for them to turn around. What a save by Zorba. Last-ditch defending. Centers to Karras. Karras with a shot. Near post. Zorba's there again. Couldn't quite rotate his car to the right orientation. And that sequence of events doesn't fall the way of the Phantoms, but they're fighting for a way back in it. And there is, you can see, life in this Phantom side still.
Certainly so, and more than about less than 4 feet away is Stelios to the 3 players on the pitch here, and Mahern is maybe not as good as it once was, but it certainly, you can hear small little voices being chirped behind him in essentially of what could be happening, but there will be a few oohs and ahs certainly in their comms here. They know that this has to go. Certainly had 2-3 opportunities, and unfortunately the veteran-like roster will be looking at that and sort of going, phew, pressure, opportunity dealt with, now it's our turn.
It's almost getting to the end of that one. Lordi makes it 2, gets his first goal of the game, continues his attacking prowess in front of this Lossy Phantoms net. Again, another demo. The key to that goal, if you didn't see it just off your screens there, one of the Phantom players taken out, and it freed up the empty net for Lord Demon to tap home. And again, according to patterns, this should be the UVG's game to lose. But there's still time, and when there is still time, there is still room for Brexit ball, for Route 1, Sean Dyche. It worked last time, Danny. There's no reason why it can't work now.
I just love the fact is that probably is the plan, the strategy, and it looks like the way they're going, trying to close as much space down, but Migra has dealt with it individually. 3 beaten here, 2 minutes gone by, and 2 goals went straight through with no response. 2, however, still remains here, so enough time for the Lossy Phantoms to do something, but the question is, what can they do? But the other element that they've got to be careful of, Stelios, they've conceded 2 goals via the demo and a decider.
Yeah, they are yet to overturn a singular goal deficit in this series, so doing it for 2 goals is going to be very tough. And as you can see, the UVG, they're playing well, they're camped inside the Phantoms half, they're trying to search for that all-important 3rd goal. And if they can get it, you do feel that is a bit steep of a hill for the Lossy Phantoms to try to climb. No doubt they will try, though. They'll go down swinging. You can see them in front of me, they're animated, they're still having fun, they're still laughing in between comms, which you like to see. There goes Zorba, goes up for a redirect off the ceiling there, but Migra gets to it. Good defending from UVG as they search for a 3rd. Codename Jess will try to get to that one. Squares it down towards Zorba. Mistakes all around here. It's pandemonium. But the all-important scoreline is at the top of your screens there. It's still 2-0 to UVG. And long may that continue as far as they're concerned. But Phantoms, they're still searching for a way into it.
Certainly so. Jesse, our beaten Zorba's there. Carries, drops back. Pass to. Awkward ball here, and not sure necessarily what Jess was thinking putting that ball in the corner. There was options, and the net was at least reasonably exposed to fancy to at least test the keeper as Lord Demon closes that one down. About still 30 odd seconds there. Don't want to make a mistake at a crucial point here, and that one's on target. Slightly will bobble straight on down here, and essentially, and there he is. I was waiting for to see it. He's sitting, waiting on the backboard. You can just see Migra with a cheeky grin and sort of going, come on, somebody fade me.
That is one of his trademark solo queue or duo queue remarks where he'll just be sat on the backboard waiting for a pass, and it may be too little too late now for the Lossy Phantoms. They really gave it a good go. They made some good chances, but unfortunately they couldn't make it pay. And the UVG Demons get a very important win. Now, of course, on paper, that is no shock, but I don't think in practice, Danny, it was as easy as the UVG Demons would have liked it to be. I think Phantoms probably took them by surprise there, especially in Game 2. And had things gone their way a little bit more, we could have seen a surprise win. As it happened, UVG took their chances. They got their 3 points, and they moved on to series number 4.
Well, certainly so, and do you know what, so far, sort of 3 series down, things are going thick and fast here still, and you know, when you look at sort of the range of the players and the team so far, probably so far the most even matches, but essentially 3, I don't want to say unknown names, we know them quite well enough here, but 3 unknown in terms of the competition here, taking down a veteran team in the form of Lossy Phantoms to venture within the sort of conversation of a top 8 now.
I think it's in their, it's definitely in their future, especially with how they've played tonight. They've shown they can create some clear-cut chances. It's just about taking them. I liked Karras a lot tonight. I think his defensive-minded approach worked well for the team. It allowed Zorba, it allowed Sean Dyche to get up the pitch and work their magic. Unfortunately, the chances they did create just weren't taken. And had they taken those chances, I think we'll be looking at a different result here altogether. Again, though, full credit to Migra and the UVG Demons. They kept their cool. They did score their chances, and that's all that was the difference between a win and a loss here for either of these two sides. A good result for UVG.
Well, certainly so, but coming up shortly should be, in theory, a top 8 regular versus a side here looking to maybe particularly put a bit of a threat here. The Tempest will be coming shortly onto your screens against the 13th Legion. We'll see you after this break, though.
BFBS Forces News join KFOL patrols in the north of Kosovo.
We're here to create a safe and secure environment for the people in Kosovo and the people of Kosovo.
Our job, fly and fight from the home base, and we've got to be able to do that in whatever conditions.
This training is mutually beneficial to both sides. For the riflemen themselves, it's about getting that valuable training in the desert.
At the heart of Lympstone Parade Square, the King's Squad, and there could be no more special guest of honour than His Majesty the King.
And whilst I'm not moving the controls at all, I can certainly learn from what I'm seeing as to how a manoeuvre should be flown.
This year, 337 recruits have completed training. That's a first-time pass rate of 99.7%, which is incredibly high.
So we have a philosophy on this ship called the Way of the Warrior Sailor. It argues that in order to create morale, you must love and value everybody.
This beam here came from HMS Indefatigable. The beams from the Armada were eventually integrated into the pub.
At BFBS Creative, we are creative storytellers. We are specialists in unravelling the untold, even from the most difficult locations. We help you reach the audiences you need to reach. From documentary interviews to addressing communication hurdles and crafting your content strategy, we can do it all. We thrive in the toughest environments, ensuring your stories are told brilliantly.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the RES Storm Shadows channel. I am once again joined by the immeasurably enthusiastic Roman in the commentary box this evening, Roman. And as you can see on your screens there, it is the RES Storm Shadows taking on the Army Esports side. A fascinating insight into what we might come to expect in the inter-services. But for tonight, it's the Armed Forces Dungeon League. Let's get this show started.
Carries this forward, gets 50 with Fraz. Ed, get into that one. NB tucks it away. And as I say, they need an opening goal. They have managed to get one here, 1-0.
Frazic, though, does some nice defensive work. but P finds Cedric. Cedric finds Envy. Beautiful stuff from the RAF Storm Shadows. 2-0.
Approximately a minute and a half left to go. Envy goes for a pass to P. P with a shot. P with a goal. Tucked away in the top left corner. 2-1 to the RAF Storm Shadows, and they are shining through here after the Army. They've struggled to rotate. They struggled to get into position after kickoff, and P managing to give the RAF Storm Shadows that advantage
Didn't
again.
have a lot to work with, didn't have a lot of the goal to aim at, but he put it in the one place that it was going to go to, and Cedric makes it 3. And the floodgates are beginning to open here for the RAF Storm Shadows. A great 30-second burst, and now they've just got to hold it or even go for more.
Air power wins matches in Rocket League, and you can't tell me otherwise. As Ed will tuck down away, and the Storm Shadows have the advantage here with 3 minutes left to go. Nothing about air superiority there. P just managing to get a pass across. A very strong 50 indeed, and Ed had an entire net to tuck it away. 1-0 to the Storm Shadows, and the Army, they've been crumbling since game 3. To control this one and take it downfield, intercepted immediately by Ed, and this pressure from the Storm Shadows has been relentless.
I'm Dan Penter.
My name is Mark Langton.
I'm Peter. My name is Staff Sergeant Richie Reese. My gamer tag is Chief Lid.
Gamer tag is Pete P Gaming.
My gamer tag I play under is SG_Reaper.
My gamer tag is Max Chat. I think the thing I'm looking forward to most as part of the UVG is actually meeting new people. There's a lot of veterans out there who haven't been connected to gaming.
Meeting fellow veterans and playing with fellow veterans, that's what I'm looking forward to do.
So just staying part of a community. So when I was in the RAF, I was part of the RAF Esports, so we did a few meetups during that. I'm looking forward to keeping that going with the veterans and expanding it, talking to the other services, which I didn't really do too much of.
We've started with a core of about 60 people that some of us knew, and as it grows every week new people turn up, and I love meeting new people and getting to know them and gaming with them.
The thing with veterans is we understand each other.
I'm looking forward to being part of the UVG because for me, as a still serving in the British Army at the moment, is that setting that stepping stone for individuals who do eventually leave the services, and looking forward to what UVG can offer them as a gamer, if they are a gamer, or even if they're not a gamer. It's just the community that is offered to them from UVG, where, you know, as a serving soldier, taking that transition into civilian street is quite hard. So for them, having that community where you've got ex-servicemen, ex-servicewomen, for them, they can then look at those communities, and it'll be hopefully make that transition easier for them.
I think the biggest thing that UVG will do for the veterans gaming community is to connect veterans through gaming.
Speaking with other veterans, that's the main thing veterans need to speak. We have a very thing that I am the big man and I can handle it, but we speak to each other. That's going to help our mental health.
See, I think UVG can offer a lot for veteran gamers.
But it's going to bring a lot of people who haven't really got that online social aspect. Through a lot of mental health stuff I've been through and done, and I think that's going to be a massive thing for a lot of people who don't have no one to talk to.
It's not just all about bringing gamers together, it's the events that can go on. They can bring a lot of the veteran community together, which gives them opportunity not just to sit in their homes, they can come out, meet each other, put a face to a name.
Finding this group of people who can understand what they've gone through, understand how they talk, is going to be a massive thing.
For anyone wanting to get involved in UVG, you can find us on Discord, UK Veterans GG, and if you look on any other social media, we're there on UK Veterans GG, be that TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, we're there, and our links to Discord are in all those channels as well. I'm Dan Penter.
My name is Mark Langton.
I'm Peter.
My name is Staff Sergeant Richie Reese. My gamer tag is Chief Lid.
Gamer tag is Pete P Gaming.
My gamer tag I play under is SG_Reaper.
My gamer tag is Max Chat. I think the thing I'm looking forward to most as part of the UVG is actually meeting new people. There's a lot of veterans out there who haven't been connected to gaming.
Meeting fellow veterans and playing with fellow veterans, that's what I'm looking forward to do.
So just staying part of a community. So when I was in the RAF, I was part of the RAF Esports, so we did a few meetups during that. I'm looking forward to keeping that going with the veterans and expanding it, talking to the other services, which I didn't really do too much of.
We've started with a core of about 60 people that some of us knew, and as it grows every week, new people turn up, and I love meeting new people and getting to know them and gaming with them.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the BFBS Pro League itself. And Joe, bit of debate sort of going on behind the scenes at the moment here, because we're sort of counting the wins, counting the losses, and sort of going, right, if he beats them and they beat that, and you're sort of going, right, what isn't, sort of the scenarios and outlines. Do you know what? Top 8 is not as easy as it is still. It has been, shall we say, more of a challenge for some teams who, at one stage, we would have thought, do you know what, they'll be a regular within the top. That seems to be no longer the situation here.
Yeah, I mean, there were some real shock results around the block game in all kinds of groups. I mean, Group B, for example, the Royal Navy Orcas beating the RAF Tempest for the first time. And they take their place top of the group, and Tempests have at the moment their worst ever run, with played 3, won 2, and lost 1, with everything to play for still for them, of course, and that is some really good. I mean, over in Group C as well, by the way, it is a battle at the top for 2 Royal Air Force sides: the RAF Storm Shadows, first position, 4 for 4, and the RAF Shadows, the sweethearts of the Royal Air Force Rocket League community, also 3 wins and 1 loss, and they're battling for a place in the top 2 and top 8 for tomorrow. But here we have the RAF Tempests against 13th Legion.
Well, certainly so, and the RAF Tempest, who, do you know what, had a surprising run, could have arguably been in the grand final a week ago. They have not looked on full cylinders so far here, but that's an ideal way of getting a goal onto the board after dropping a series.
Yeah, lovely fast start there. G-Wood capitalising on a nice shot by G-Wood. It led to a mistake, and it just pinched into its own net, into their own net from 13th. That's unfortunate for 13th Legion, who, by the way, are seeded 22nd, by the way, and are currently sat 3rd in their group. 3 wins, 1 loss. What an excellent result it is for them as of right now, but, you know, Samez and G-Wood and Kobe will be hoping to bring them right back down to earth.
Well, certainly so, and just to put Group B into the rough sort of outline of things right now, the Royal Navy sitting 4 wins at the moment, Falcons with 3, but yet to have a result put onto the board just yet. They've still got a match essentially running, so it could be a potential loss there on the cards, as that one should be 3-0 for G-Wood, but it's a wide open group here, because if Tempest beat the 13th Legion outright, you're sitting here potentially looking at a temporary top 2 position, depending on what Falcons and the Royal Navy ends up doing.
It's finely balanced, and the next game between the Orcas and the Falcons could be a really telling game for Group B for the likes of the Tempest and 13th Legion, who, again, I must credit for them being so high up in that Group B, which is essentially a group of death of sorts. It's 4 really strong sides, and the 22nd seed is currently in 3rd position. Samez goes up. What a read of the backboard that was, but he couldn't convert from close range there. A difficult chance, but it was nicely crafted, just not so nicely finished.
So both sides will have their opportunities, and that one fired right at the keeper here. So RAF Tempest will be looking to calm themselves down. It's a nice set of passing plays, and unfortunately Kobe not on the same wavelength on the 4th pass here, but I know we spoke almost lyrically about him a week ago, but arguably, if there was an outright poll here, probably the most valuable player, maybe within sort of the top 2 sort of conversation, last week, what he produced on the pitch was ridiculous, especially when it came to the elimination stage or day 2.
That is indeed the case. And endangered Brad. That is some name, by the way. I wonder why Brad is endangered, Danny. Why do you think that might be the case?
No, how are we using the word endangered?
Well, endangered as in maybe missing, in action from the pitch right now, because I don't see 13th Legion posing too much of a threat on this RAF Tempest net. There might be the Royal Air Force bias in me, but I don't know. The Tempest right now for me seem pretty comfortable and dominant.
I thought you would have went with fleeting as in going extinct as the word endangered there, to adopt one of the 13th Legion for a good home there, particular Radbert. I thought that's the angle you were going, but...
No, not quite. But the angle that I will go for, though, is that there is an endangered Brad going for a shot on the Tempest net. Kobe was there to move his team outside of the defensive third. Oh, that's so awkward there from Defib. Sames pops up, puts the ball on net. But Brad, there he is again. What a save to keep the lead to only 3. The Tempest pushing for a quad here of goals just over the halfway mark now. G-Wood knocks it down. Can he get the redirect? No, he can't. And the 13th Legion, at least for now, survive a 4th.
Temporarily. That sort of 4th goal going a big, and then G-Wood nearly tapping that one towards his own net here. Not ideal in the slightest here, but what is, I suppose, the sort of good thing is it sort of stabilised. It's 3-0. I think both sides, as much as the Tempest wants to get one, the 13th Legion haven't really produced much on the offensive to scrabble away or to essentially rack up points in terms of the offensive third.
It's been comfortable for the Royal Air Force Tempest side. They haven't been pushed, I think, too much in defence. They've looked comfortable. Yes, they've looked maybe a little bit rushed and rash at times, but they've dealt with it. And there is Sames. Drops it into the empty net. 4 goals to the good now, the RAF Tempests. And they just need to remain in control, remain calm. And game 1 of this best of 3 will be surely theirs.
Should be. And I think we are, and this is sort of the conversation, sure, semi-finalists of Qualifier 2 and have been sort of regularly within the sort of top 8. I mean, the RAF Tempest is sort of looking at the sort of Group B and sort of when we should be within a fighting chance of racking up more points here and pushing sort of the top 16. And, to put it in the conversation terms here, they're at level of the RAF Storm Shadows, which should not be the case, but if they do go on to go through, they could potentially overtake them.
It's a possibility, of course, but at least for now, the Storm Shadows have been able to maintain their top ranking, their top seed within the Royal Air Force server. I believe a token challenge went in on the RAF Storm Shadows not so long ago, but I think it fell through due to Tempest's availability with Subi having to deploy. And, well, they couldn't. And it's only recently that Kobe has joined the Tempest as a stand-in for this Tempest side. And again, he's done so well, by the way. We have to credit to Kobe because he wasn't always the most consistent player back in his time when he was playing alongside teammates like Benny back in the day. But now, I think his gameplay has improved so much. Danny, I'm sure you'll agree. A much more composed, more all-round player. And he has made a significant stamp on this Tempest side as they make it 6 goals to 0 in the final 30 seconds.
So, and I think the Tempest might need to have a long conversation about their main starting 3. Does Kobe then become that in-player to the starting lineup as the 7-1 goes in? But a lot in terms of to debate and to go around here. But the 13th Legion, once again, yes, they're seen sitting 22nd. Shouldn't be on paper, going as high as what they've gone so far today. But you have to be able to take the wins, and so far they've been outright good. No. Oh, I haven't seen that in a while.
I love this kind of gameplay. They know the game's gone. They don't want to go for a Brazil. And we'll turn on. They've got a Brazil. Oh my God! You can't write that any better. The moment I've cursed it, Kobe went up for an air dribble, gets the reset, and wavy duck out of nowhere for the Brazil. And that's got to have been done for the content, surely, Danny.
I'm disappointed more than anything else. You know, I'll ask you this personally. Do you go for the Brazil yourself in that situation, or do you hold 7-0?
I'm holding 7-0 all day long. 365 days a year, I'm holding for that 7-0 there. I'm not giving the other team this benefit, the pleasure of having a Brazil. But, I mean, fair play. Wavy Duck saw Kobe in the air and thought, yeah, I'll have a bit of that. Full speed challenge. Got the dunk into the back of the net. Maybe he wanted the Brazil. Danny, I don't think we'll ever know the answer to that question. But what we do know is Tempest take full control of game number 1. And they find themselves with 2 match points. And on the evidence of the first game in particular, I don't see a way back for 13th Legion, though I also didn't see 13th Legion being 3rd place as 22nd seed in Group B. Yet they are, so I'm sure they'll be looking to prove us wrong. They played a little bit better towards the end of that game. It's all about now how they start game number 2.
Well, certainly so, and both deciding to go for what? Seriously? Yeah, Joe, I've seen some decisions in my team sort of going, Joe, what, we'll fake it here, and the other team going, Joe, what if that's with 1-6-7-0 there? Joe, let's fake it as well. I'm getting too old for this.
It's confidence in a way, isn't it? It's confidence in a way where they're just trying something new, maybe trying to surprise the Tempest, and you would expect the Tempest to go for that kind of play because of the level, right? And of the rank differential between these two teams of players. But I mean, how are the Tempest supposed to play for and expect that play from 13th Legion? Maybe that's why they did it.
I'm all for it. It's just even with all the years of experience, you still go sort of going, what? That was one of those moments you sort of going, you have to scratch your head and you sort of going, right, okay, there's a game plan here. You know what? Pull up a deck chair here. We're going to see how this one's going to go. But either way off it, what has to be stated after all the confusion, really, they haven't conceded. They've had opportunities to be in the Tempest half. So far here, it's the right decision, and you can't falter it.
No, and again, we're approaching the halfway point, and there is a chance for a lead to be taken for 13th Legion. They've really turned it on here in Game 2, and what a stark contrast to what we saw first time round. There's a demo by G-Wood on Wavy Duck. BFBS goes up, Kobe has to get there, he does. Away to Sames, looks for G-Wood, the captain of the Tempest goes up, nice first touch, gets the redirect, and what a goal! Comfortably golden night so far. G-Wood showing his class.
And it just takes sort of one position, really. Doesn't sort of deviate off the line of his trajectory once it's got set. And it's basically pings it right to the back of the net here. Ideal what you want, and when you are, I hate using this phrase, but the outright favourites going into the match, there is nothing but pressure onto yourselves. You've got to make that result happen. That's the goal, and unfortunately Sam is not getting the second one to follow it through. So the 13th Legion, really, even though they may be 1-0 down here, still has the opportunity to pile pressure on here.
Nice touch in field. Wavy Duck though on the backboard waiting for it. Endangered Brad. His touch only finds Kobe, who chases and hurries the 13th Legion plays out of defense. G-Wood drops it down. It was dangerous there. But a nice save. And now here comes 13th Legion with a chance of their own. A fake attempt, but Kobe didn't bite. G-Wood now on the counter attack. Looks for, I believe it was Kobe with a pre-jump. Didn't quite work that time round. G-Wood didn't quite get a decisive enough touch. There's a shooting opportunity again for Kobe. But 13th Legion just somehow, some way surviving here. BFBS misses. Kobe's there, flicks it goalwards. 2-0. The lead has been doubled.
Joe, we really have been casting cursing this entirety of this evening. Every time we've had a moment like that, so we're going, they've been playing fantastic, the defense has been great. We just conceded.
I think 7-1, the Brazil was a caster's curse as well. It just, throughout my casting career, I've always done it. And I just have no way of controlling it or stopping it. And I can only apologize to the players and teams that I've let down in the last couple of years when it comes to caster's curse. And will it be another one? G-Wood into Sames. The combination play from a duo that is of such a level of experience from the RAF Tempest. You can see them linking up there. Nice set into Samus. Beats Defib to the ball. And you got to think, though, if Defib even just flipped, even half flipped there, he surely would have got to that one.
I've got a friend still.
You do?
Yeah, I just saw it on broadcast there. Catters has eventually friended me back here all through the BFBS Pro League as well too. If you want to get involved into the action and meet new ones as well too. Well, that's of course the Qualifier 4 is out as well. If you want to sign up too, of course, you need to be some way involved in terms of the RAF, the military, or of course the Royal Navy. And I only just thought to mention that because he just friended me back here. We were meant to see him at the opening game here, but I think this one's almost cheddar, really. It's plain, it's standard, it's what we expected from the Tempests.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be panicked in any capacity. And again, a quick addition to your point, qualifiers 5 through to 8 as well are sign-ups are also open for those. So if you know your team is a long-term team and you think you have a chance of making that September LAN, which is still TBC, I can tell you, without leaking too much, it's going to be an amazing event, so you'll want to be there. But if you have a team that can challenge for the top 8 spot to make it to the LAN, get yourself signed up for qualifiers 5 through 8. Well, of course 4 as well, because you won't want to miss it if you are good enough. So throw your hat into the mix. There is no harm in doing it. And at worst, you'll have a great time. At best, you may even win some of that amazing prize pool. And again, a massive shout out to BFBS putting on this fantastic platform for military esports and for the extended military community as well. It's nice to have something for them. And secondly, one more shout out to the Lossy Phantoms for allowing me to stream from this fantastic environment. I've been welcomed wonderfully here, and I feel right at home.
I've got to ask you now, it's Qualifier 4 here. Are you going to be at a different base or, location? What's the plan here still as Sam has knocked in the 5th one?
Well, without revealing too much, it all depends on my working schedule for the next week. There is a chance I'll be back at my home base. There is also a chance I'll be broadcasting Qualifier number 4, also from Lossiemouth. It all depends. And on a few things which I'm not certain are nailed yet. So I can't actually answer that question in full. But what I can answer is Sames makes it 6 goals to the good. The Tempest, Danny, have been ruthless.
Certainly have been, and it's been goal after goal after goal, and you know what? It's to some extent here ridiculous by how well they can play and how easy they can, and it just. They can make the teams like the 13th Legion look standard, look normal. It's, what the Tempests do.
It's a trademark of their ability. There seems to be always the goal going in against them in the last second. The Brazil missed by 1 goal that time, Danny. But you are right. They are a trademark team that once they find momentum, once they get into the lead, they are really difficult to try and come back against. This time they showed that clinical against 13th Legion, who have done very well, by the way, to get 3 wins in this group. So they'll be happy. They'll be moving on to their last series of the day. But for the Tempests, I think to make top 8, because of that result against the Orcas, it might be out of their hands. Unless, of course, they can beat the Falcons.
Well, certainly so. It's becoming a little bit more of a debate here on how things are certainly will be looking towards. And what is going to be more interesting is what does teams do, in the interim, because to some extent here, there is teams that will have a bye, essentially a 15-minute break from not being competitive. And for the Tempest, I don't think they've had their break yet. So after having a defeat, having a win, and potentially I think their bye's coming up next year, it's going to be a scrappy affair.
Yeah, especially with the game that they have coming up. If they have, I don't think they've played the Falcons yet, and that's the game that they want to be hot going into, because they have shared a fantastic rivalry through qualifiers 1 through 3. So you're right. What do they do? Do they stay in free play? Do they stay warm? Do they stay on top of their mechanics and the communication? Maybe go even rank 3s, maybe even a warm-up screen with one of the teams that are also on a buy. Plenty of opportunity. Or, of course, do they step away from their PCs? That's also a play that I have used with some of my players that I've coached. in the RLCS environment, and it can sometimes be exactly what you need to re-steady yourself. So plenty of options. I mean, Danny, if you were in their shoes, which option would you take?
It depends on the player. If you're asking me personally, I'd rather just be in free play. And this is going to sound really not like me after knowing me for so long. Is basically a heavy baseline and tune out the world for about 20 minutes or 10 and just reset.
I don't think that's a bad call. And again, Tempest, who probably of all the RAF teams at least have the most difficult job now from the position they're in to qualify, that decision will be very key. If they get that right, if they can stay reset, they're gonna have a good chance of making it through to the top 8. But again, difficult. I kind of wish we could stay zoomed in on that Group B scenario, because it really is interesting. I can confirm that the Falcons have gone joint top with the Royal Navy Orcas. I think, Danny, that's a good time to go for a break. So I'll throw it to you before we come back and assess that last round of action.
Well, that sounds absolutely fantastic, and we'll see it. Well, do you know what? I think we'll do it next round, the full assessment in terms of where things are after this break here still.
I'm Dan Penter.
My name is Mark Langton.
I'm Peter.
My name is Staff Sergeant Richie Rees. My gamer tag is Chief Lid.
Gamer tag is Pete P Gaming.
My gamer tag I play under is SG_Reaper.
My gamer tag is Max Chat. I think the thing I'm looking forward to most as part of the UVG is actually meeting new people. There's a lot of veterans out there who haven't been connected to gaming.
Meeting fellow veterans and playing with fellow veterans, that's what I'm looking forward to do.
So just staying part of a community. So when I was in the RAF, I was part of the RAF Esports, so we did a few meetups during that. I'm looking forward to keeping that going with the veterans and expanding it, talking to the other services, which I didn't really do too much of.
We've started with a core of about 60 people that some of us knew, and as it grows every week, new people turn up, and I love meeting new people and getting to know them and gaming with them.
The thing with veterans is we understand each other.
I'm looking forward to being part of the UVG because for me, as a still serving in the British Army at the moment, is that setting that stepping stone for individuals who do eventually leave the services, and looking forward to what UVG can offer them as a gamer, if they are a gamer, or even if they're not a gamer. It's just the community that is offered to them from UVG, where, you know, as a serving soldier who, you know, taking that transition into civilian street is quite hard. So for them, having that community where you've got ex-servicemen, ex-servicewomen, for them, they can then look at those communities, and it'll be hopefully make that transition easier for them.
I think the biggest thing that UVG will do for the veterans gaming community is to connect veterans through gaming.
Speaking with other veterans, that's the main thing veterans need to speak. We have a very thing that I am the big man and I can handle it, but we speak to each other. That's going to help our mental health.
See, I think UVG can offer a lot for veteran gamers.
But it's going to bring a lot of people who haven't really got that online social aspect. Through a lot of mental health stuff I've been through and done, and I think that's going to be a massive thing for a lot of people who don't have no one to talk to.
It's not just all about bringing gamers together, it's the events that can go on. They can bring a lot of the veteran community together, which gives them opportunity not just to sit in their homes, they can come out, meet each other, you know, put a face to a name.
Finding this group of people who can understand what they've gone through, understand how they talk, is going to be a massive thing.
For anyone wanting to get involved in UVG, you can find us on Discord, UK Veterans GG, and if you look on any other social media, we're there on UK Veterans GG, be that TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, we're there, and our links to Discord are in all those channels as well. I'm Dan Penter.
My name is Mark Langton.
I'm Peter.
My name is Staff Sergeant Richie Rees. My gamer tag is Chief Lid.
Gamertag is Pete P Gaming.
My gamertag I play under is SG_Reaper.
My gamertag is MaxChat.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's a tad bit early. I started going 10-minute timer. But you know what? Usually Stello in production hitting the buttons. You know what? I thought, you know what? Players are near enough already, sort of shaking the sort of the dust ready off here. And you know what? I thought, you know what? We've got actually one player outright that I know far too well. And the rest of the pits here, I think you know a fair amount as well too, still. But before we do set the players up, the groups, there seems to be a fair lot to talk about here.
Yeah, and this is a Group C encounter between Los Polos Hermanos and Deck Collectors, seed number 23 versus seed number 28. And at least as it stands currently, the Deck Collectors, the lower seed, are actually above Los Polos Hermanos. So there is a great lot at stake here, even if it's just for position at 4th place for these two teams. Over in Group A, it's no Boost Just Vibes and Omnia dominating the proceedings there. 12 points apiece, 4 from 4. I mean, that's a dominant duo if I've ever seen one. You know, Omnia shocking the Storm Shadows last week. No Boost Just Vibes, the winners of last week's qualifier. So that's a really interesting group. Falcons, as it stands, still top of Group B, followed closely by the Orcas, again locked in at 12 apiece. 13th Legion still leading the Tempest by 1 win, but I think those games are yet to update and go through. Storm Shadows in Group C, which is where we are now, are locked in a deadlock again with the Sparrowhawks, who they lead by 1 series win. And Group D, it's the RF Cadets, the RF Rattlers, and New Gens pushing for top 8. I love to see it. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing them on stream at some point.
Well, certainly so, but on stream right now, Deck Collectors versus Los Polos, and it's the 3rd time they've been roughly on stream, and I think, if memory serves me rightly, it's a somewhat different roster.
It is, and I can't say that I'm too familiar with a lot of the people here in either of these two rosters, apart from Navs UK, who I know. Though this is not an official Royal Navy side, this is not a Navy side at all. I know that Navs is the chair of the Royal Navy Esports Association as a whole. He does some very, very good work over for Navy Esports. But of course, again, this is not a Navy side at all. This is just friends getting together and enjoying the BFBS Pro League for what it is, which is a fantastic opportunity for all of the military community to get together, play some games in good competitive spirit, and maybe, of course, win some of that amazing prize pool. But already here, Deck Collectors collecting their first debt of the evening, 1-0 up now, and they're searching for a second.
Well, certainly so, and I'm actually going to show a bit of age here in terms of the competition sort of side of it. Jaffa, who within the Irish scene that spoke Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland as well, players as one similar height they would do in, say, rugby union. Jaffa started his competitive career just as I was technically retiring and being competitive. So one of the last matches I actually ever played was against him. So, yeah. Feeling old now.
I mean, I'm quite curious to dig a little bit deeper on that. What kind of level did Jaffa used to play or currently plays at?
Well, you can imagine when I sort of dropped down, he was definitely on the sort of the upcoming, so sort of strong 1900 sort of level player when 2K was becoming a thing. So he was at that time, and for a bit of history as well too. You know, when 6-mans, which is, you know, you get 6 players randomly, you throw them in the lobby. He was at the top tier, the premier tier, essentially what it was called back then, and won against what's essentially rival series quality players. So what would have been professional players back in its day. So Jaffa, you know, when he was competitive, was arguably a potential up-and-coming Irish, well, at the time, Northern Irish threat in terms of competition, as they can certainly get a second goal on the board here.
That's an interesting story, and I'm surprised that, you know, there's some kind of obviously military connection there for him to be eligible for the film. I mean, who would have thought it? What a small world and small community Rocket League as a whole is, to be now commentating over a player that you once played on your, as you say, step down from the professional playing Rocket League team.
The twilight days, as I like to refer to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's a chance at water.
Oh!
What a shot that was from Cussy, but I'm not sure how that one stayed out. It was a great save by Mole. It could have easily been 2-1 there if not for that save. The touch onto the post was phenomenal. And they're coming up for another bite at the cherry here, but instead they're going to suck a punch of their own. And it's 3-0. Debt collectors really, really honing in on that debt now.
That's goal of the tournament so far in terms of qualifier 3.
You reckon?
Oh yeah.
Was it beat G-Woods?
Yes.
That board?
Yes.
Fair enough.
It's not often I'm complimentary, it's when Steel stops arguing with me, but no, they played out through 3 people in the middle of the park here and have the fine touch to put it near enough bottom left of the corner right. That's a very much a good touch, and you know what, the pass is probably what sells it for me.
It was nicely worked, and Deffer again showing his class. Knocks that one central. It's going to bounce dangerously in front of the Los Polos net. Can they convert for 4-0? No, not that time. The pressure though still inside their half. I'm going to call him X. X drops it down. Jappa's there. Good save, and it stayed out somehow. Mole continues to apply pressure onto this Los Polos net. They're somehow surviving. Cutsy away, and they again survive the onslaught, but Jappa will put it straight back into the half of Los Polos. They managed to survive it. Yeah, Nams will come for this one. Playing goalkeeper, I love it in that. Quite nice looking back the ball, I must say. Hussey drops it back down into the debt collector's half, and again, a minute to go, Danny, they're looking very comfortable there.
Certainly so, so no surprise here. And you know, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I think Nams is the only player in the competition that uses the Batmobile.
You're right. I don't think I've seen anybody else in the Batmobile actually.
I'm just sort of hoping maybe one of our admins was more than happy to correct me on that. But such an old school car, very much, you know, it's a lot of control to use the Batmobile, and unfortunately there's some teams you look at and you sort of go, it generates a lot of power, but you've got to be patient on the pacing of it.
For some reason, I was going to say that Grammar plays in the Batmobile. Of course he does, but of course Grammar also isn't in any way connected to the Armed Forces community, which is why he's not in the tournament. So I don't know where that came from, to be honest, but I mean, I'm glad I caught myself before.
No, that's brilliant, because I'm just waiting for the lines of that used to be the professional team that I coached.
Nah, we don't need to plug that.
You're far too modest to do it, but top 16 team and coach, by the way, if anybody is interested in form Stelios.
I try.
But you know, with the joking aside here, still, very much, you know, whether it's the Batmobile, you know, whether it's Grammar or would have been Mystic or Coxer back in my day, would have been world champions. You know, lost themselves in terms of Polis. They played all right, but when you play against, you know, Debt Collector, who is the sort of the stealth team, shall we say, very much composed, very much a side that will dominate if you give them space and time off for an effective 3-0 victory there.
Yeah, I mean, I must say from the evidence of the first game, I will opt to go for a Debt Collectors 2-0 series win, but I mean, I'd love to be proven wrong. And we saw elements of attacking attempts from Los Polos. They came close, if not for that fantastic save by Mole midway through, and it actually resulted in a sucker punch goal, which Danny refers to as the best goal of the day. And you know what? Based off what you're saying and the rationale for it, I tend to agree. G-Woods wasn't in an inspirational bit of solo play, but
you can call G-Woods the best goal of the game. I'm not going to say you're wrong.
It's close because for different reasons, for different contexts,
yes,
that goal was good. I mean, the team play, like you said, was fantastic, and the Mole will put that in for 1-0, and they take an early first step here to a series win. A nice, composed finish.
Certainly so. I think Stella and I are going to have strong disagreements after this during the break here. So no, G-Wood's better. No, it was Jaffa. But unfortunately, we'll have it probably arguing over a type of biscuit. And speaking about it, there he is onto the backboard. Should be getting a touch off it, and They're playing very much a deep, shallow ball here. Cussy, so if they can just sort of essentially have a better follow through, they could be such more of a threat here.
They can. They're making chances. They're making openings, but as you say, they are currently unable to follow them up. They need to be a little bit more aggressive. They need to be a little bit more proactive in their attacking style. Because like I say, look, they're inside the attacking half. They're making, promising chances. They're in the right areas. They're just not finding clinicality and ruthlessness in their attacks. If they can add that to their game, this is quite a decent side. And a side that I wouldn't expect to be down, in 23rd seed. They're showing why they could be looking to push higher than that. But the missing ingredient, Danny, and the all-important missing ingredient, at least for now, is just that killer instinct, just those goals going in.
Certainly so, and when you do sort of have that sort of lack of that striker ability as the second one goes in, it can be difficult. You can have the best sort of structure defensively, and you did see two sort of fly by, but it's that sort of quick question that all teams ask, but what team do you essentially give it a go? When do you send it fully?
We're getting into that territory now for Los Polos, surely, where they've got to just go, caution to the wind, go full out attack or risk conceding more and more. And when you are in this position now, you really have nothing to lose. You're destined for a 2-0 defeat. You may as well go for broke. 3-0, 7-0, 8-0, it doesn't really make a difference. However, if you're giving yourself a chance to go 3-3 and make some kind of a comeback, you never know, it may go your way. It may just go your way. We certainly, in the context of military Rocket League, Danny, we would have seen stranger results than a 3-0 comeback here.
I don't want to bring up for the sake of it, but the Tempests were quite familiar giving particular 3-0s or 3-3 type scorelines. The Shadows likewise too, when they're continuous battle against, I think it's the Sparrowhawks off the top of my head, the never-ending battle between the two, and an excellent save there off the post here, preventing the first goal for the Los Polos roster themselves, as the apple finally been dropped on that one. But gravity, such a cruelty it is, it's gone against them 4-0.
What a flying effort it was from Mole there from distance. Finds the top left-hand side of the Los Polos net, and the clock ticks past 2:34. You feel it's only going to go one way now, but let's see what, if there's anything left in the tank here for Los Polos. Again, their performance has improved, I must say. Not looking as likely to concede as they did the first time round. It will be an attempt from Jaffa. And maybe Danny, a few years ago, he'll be burying that one without fail. But his efforts keep the attack alive as Jaffa again centers back in towards X. X drops it onto the crossbar, and a good save by Cussy.
When you get older and you slightly lose it, it is difficult sometimes to recapture, but there is glimmer. Small little peckles of sort of the old, shall we say, class that still runs through it, but oh wait, you're not talking about me, sorry. Yes, Jaffa still does, and of course he does still. Why wouldn't he?
Oh, that's good. That is absolutely brilliant. And what will be brilliant, I say, for the Los Polos will be some kind of a goal, some kind of reward for their hard work. They have played well, I think. They've had slow but measured improvements. They've made the chances, they just haven't found the goals, and they're in a bit of a state now as Jaffa drifts it round into the empty net. Makes no mistake that time.
Yeah, and it is essentially a rule 2 there between Naz and Gussie. Not much you can sit there and say. It is simply the collectors moving across here, and Joe, in terms of complexion, really does leave a lot for essentially Group C, because eventually that'd be a 4-2 victory. RS Shadows not sure quite yet here based on who they're playing here, but you could have 3 teams 4-2, and essentially it would be Deck Collectors, I think, marginally be ahead by a game differential.
It's going to be a close one, and there is the first goal finally going the way of Los Polos, and they will be happy about that. They've got themselves on the board. Cussy, the beneficiary there of a slight mistake from X. Lovely slot there, just over the last man. Makes it count. Finally, Danny, they're on the board.
Certainly so. And I've just got the confirmation. It is actually Los Polycameras playing the RAF Shadows, so there is a possibility, depending on how things move across, as Jaffa puts in another one, that the Shadows may have the potential outside chance here to maybe get second place in this group, but Debt Collector currently going to be favourites here from at least the rest of this evening.
Have Debt Collectors beaten the Shadows yet?
Oh, I'm looking currently through it. I want to double check because I'm tempted to say yes here, and I'm pretty sure they have as well.
Damn, that's a big result for Debt Collectors. If they have indeed managed to beat the Shadows, is that confirmed then for sure, 100%?
Give me a second here. My eyesight's not
Alright.
as good as it used to be. It's going that fast now.
And whilst you find that result, I'll take
Yes,
you
they
to the
have.
end of this game, and they have indeed. So this is a big result then for Debt Collectors. I mean, it's 7-1. It's a Brazil for now. Who knows? They'll be challenging the Sparrowhawks for second place. What an outstanding turn of events for them.
Certainly is, and just to get confirmation of it, was actually a 2-1-3-1 score line in the Debt Collectors versus the RF Storm Shadow. That was round 4, so 2 series ago in the group standings. So it essentially locks Group C in terms to Debt Collector versus Sparrowhawks for the second one. It would take an absolute collapse here for that to work against them, but I don't think that will be the case here.
Interesting times in Group C. What a result that was, and maybe the result that puts them in a decisive point to make top 8. I mean, there are a few groups now of these 4 groups are in similar positions, and it just goes to show you the exciting spectacle that is the BFBS Pro League. And again, that one 7-1 that time for Debt Collectors. Los Polos Hermanos fall. They at least got a goal on the board that time, and I felt they deserved it. And for them now, they move on to their game against the RAF Shadows. And that group, I mean, oh my god, that is a tough Group C.
It is, but Joe, I'll wait till the results come in still. I don't want to. It's very rarely I sort of sit there and say I think the second spot is very much locked in, but based on the last sort of matchup, and we will have it on stream, the Storm Shadow versus Sparrowhawks, I think the Storm Shadow should actually potentially have this locked in. They're guaranteed top 8. That I can pretty much say.
Indeed, and the game against Sparrowhawks will be our final of this evening. So there is, of course, one more game between then, and that is Crossbar Challenge against Gamebred. I'm very excited for that one. I think, Danny, that is the perfect time to shift into a break so that we can bring our audience the last 2 series of the evening, and it's going to be a good one, especially that Storm Shadows game. I'm looking very much forward to it. So take care for now. We'll see you all very shortly.
I'm Dan Penter.
My name is Mark Langton.
I'm Peter.
My name is Staff Sergeant Richie Reese. My gamer tag is Chief Lid.
Gamer tag is Pete P Gaming.
My gamer tag I play under is SG_Reaper.
My gamer tag is Max Chat. I think the thing I'm looking forward to most as part of the UVG is actually meeting new people. There's a lot of veterans out there who haven't been connected to gaming.
Meeting fellow veterans and playing with fellow veterans, that's what I'm looking forward to do.
So just staying part of a community. So when I was in the RAF, I was part of the RAF Esports, so we did a few meetups during that. I'm looking forward to keeping that going with the veterans and expanding it, talking to the other services, which I didn't really do too much of.
We've started with a core of about 60 people that some of us knew, and as it grows every week, new people turn up, and I love meeting new people and getting to know them and gaming with them.
The thing with veterans is we understand each other.
I'm looking forward to being part of the UVG because for me, as a still serving in the British Army at the moment, is that setting that stepping stone for individuals who do eventually leave the services, and looking forward to what UVG can offer them as a gamer, if they are a gamer, or even if they're not a gamer. It's just the community that is offered to them from UVG, where, as a serving soldier who, taking that transition into civilian street is quite hard. So for them, having that community where you've got ex-servicemen, ex-service women, for them, they can then look at those communities, and it'll be hopefully make that transition easier for them.
I think the biggest thing that UVG will do for the veterans gaming community is to connect veterans through gaming.
Speaking with other veterans, that's the main thing veterans need to speak. We have a very thing that I am the big man and I can handle it, but we speak to each other. That's going to help our mental health.
See, I think UVG can offer a lot for veteran gamers.
But it's going to bring a lot of people who haven't really got that online social aspect. Through a lot of mental health stuff I've been through and done, and I think that's going to be a massive thing for a lot of people who don't have no one to talk to.
It's not just all about bringing gamers together. It's the events that can go on. They can bring a lot of the veteran community together, which gives them opportunity not just to sit in their homes. They can come out, meet each other, put a face to a name.
Finding this group of people who can understand what they've gone through, understand how they talk, is going to be a massive thing.
For anyone wanting to get involved in UVG, you can find us on Discord, UK Veterans GG, and if you look on any other social media, we're there on UK Veterans GG, be that TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, we're there, and our links to Discord are in all those channels as well. I'm Dan Penter.
My name is Mark Langton.
I'm Peter.
My name is Staff Sergeant Richie Rees. My gamer tag is Chief Lid.
Gamer tag is Pete P Gaming.
My gamer tag I play under is SG_Reaper.
My gamer tag is Max Chat. I think the thing I'm looking forward to most as part of the UVG is actually meeting new people. There's a lot of veterans out there who haven't been connected to gaming.
Meeting fellow veterans and playing with fellow veterans, that's what I'm looking forward to do.
So just staying part of a community. So when I was in the RAF, I was part of the RAF Esports, so we did a few meetups during that. I'm looking forward to keeping that going with the veterans and expanding it, talking to the other services, which I didn't really do too much of.
We've started with a core of about 60 people that some of us knew, and as it grows every week, new people turn up, and I love meeting new people and getting to know them and gaming with them.
The thing with veterans is we understand each other.
I'm looking forward to being part of the UVG because for me, as a still serving in the British Army at the moment, is setting that stepping stone for individuals who do eventually leave the services. And looking forward to what UVG can offer them as a gamer, if they are a gamer, or even if they're not a gamer. It's just the community that is offered to them from UVG, where, as a serving soldier who, taking that transition into civilian street is quite hard. So for them, having that community where you've got ex-servicemen, ex-service women, for them, they can then look at those communities, and it'll be hopefully make that transition easier for them.
I think the biggest thing that UVG will do for the veterans gaming community is to connect veterans through gaming.
Speaking with other veterans, that's the main thing veterans need to speak. We have a very thing that I am the big man and I can handle it, but we speak to each other. That's going to help our mental health.
See, I think UVG can offer a lot for veteran gamers.
But it's going to bring a lot of people who haven't really got that online social aspect. Through a lot of mental health stuff I've been through and done, and I think that's going to be a massive thing for a lot of people who don't have no one to talk to.
It's not just all about bringing gamers together. It's the events that can go on. They can bring a lot of the veteran community together, which gives them opportunity not just to sit in their homes. They can come out, meet each other, put a face to a name.
Finding this group of people who can understand what they've gone through, understand how they talk, is going to be a massive thing.
For anyone wanting to get involved in UVG, you can find us on Discord, UK Veterans GG, and if you look on any other social media, we're there on UK Veterans GG, be that TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, we're there, and our links to Discord are in all those channels as well. I'm Dan Penter.
My name is Mark Langton.
I'm Peter.
My name is Staff Sergeant Richie Rees. My gamer tag is Chief Lid.
Gamer tag is Pete P Gaming.
My gamer tag I play under is SG_Reaper.
My gamer tag is MaxChat. I think the thing I'm looking forward to most as part of the UVG is actually meeting new people. There's a lot of veterans out there who haven't been connected to gaming.
Meeting fellow veterans and playing with fellow veterans, that's what I'm looking forward to do.
So just staying part of a community. So when I was in the RAF, I was part of the RAF Esports, so we did a few meetups during that. I'm looking forward to keeping that going with the veterans and expanding it, talking to the other services, which I didn't really do too much of.
We've started with a core of about 60 people that some of us knew, and as it grows every week, new people turn up, and I love meeting new people and getting to know them and gaming with them.
The thing with veterans is we understand each other.
I'm looking forward to being part of the UVG because for me, as still serving in the British Army at the moment, is setting that stepping stone for individuals who do eventually leave the services, and looking forward to what UVG can offer them as a gamer, if they are a gamer, or even if they're not a gamer. It's just the community that is offered to them from UVG, where, you know, as a serving soldier, you know, taking that transition into civilian street is quite hard. So for them, having that community where you've got ex-servicemen, ex-service women, for them, they can then look at those communities, and it'll be hopefully make that transition easier for them.
I think the biggest thing that UVG will do for the veterans gaming community is to connect veterans through gaming.
Speaking with other veterans, that's the main thing veterans need to speak. We have a very thing that I am the big man and I can handle it, but we speak to each other. That's going to help our mental health.
See, I think UVG can offer a lot for veteran gamers.
But it's going to bring a lot of people who haven't really got that online social aspect. Through a lot of mental health stuff I've been through and done, and I think that's going to be a massive thing for a lot of people who don't have no one to talk to.
It's not just all about bringing gamers together. It's the events that can go on. They can bring a lot of the veteran community together, which gives them opportunity not just to sit in their homes. They can come out, meet each other, you know, put a face to a name.
Finding this group of people who can understand what they've gone through, understand how they talk, is going to be a massive thing.
For anyone wanting to get involved in UVG, you can find us on Discord, UK Veterans GG, and if you look on any other social media, we're there on UK Veterans GG, be that TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, we're there, and our links to Discord are in all those channels as well. I'm Dan Penter.
My name is Mark Langton.
I'm Peter.
My name is Staff Sergeant Richie Rees. My gamer tag is Chief Lid.
Gamer tag is Pete P Gaming.
My gamer tag I play under is SG_Reaper.
My gamer tag is MaxChat. I think the thing I'm looking forward to most as part of the UVG is actually meeting new people. There's a lot of veterans out there who haven't been connected to gaming.
Meeting fellow veterans and playing with fellow veterans, that's what I'm looking forward to do.
So just staying part of a community. So when I was in the RAF, I was part of the RAF Esports, so we did a few meetups during that. I'm looking forward to keeping that going with the veterans and expanding it, talking to the other services, which I didn't really do too much of.
We've started with a core of about 60 people that some of us knew, and as it grows every week, new people turn up, and I love meeting new people and getting to know them and gaming with them.
The thing with veterans is we understand each other.
I'm looking forward to being part of the UVG because for me, as still serving in the British Army at the moment, is setting that stepping stone for individuals who do eventually leave the services, and looking forward to what UVG can offer them as a gamer, if they are a gamer, or even if they're not a gamer. It's just the community that is offered to them from UVG, where, you know, as a serving soldier, you know, taking that transition into civilian street is quite hard. So for them, having that community where you've got ex-servicemen, ex-service women, for them, they can then look at those communities, and it'll be hopefully make that transition easier for them.
I think the biggest thing that UVG will do for veterans gaming community is to connect veterans through gaming.
Speaking with other veterans, that's the main thing veterans need to speak. We have a very thing that I am the big man and I can handle it, but we speak to each other, that's going to help our mental health.
See, I think UVG can offer a lot for veteran gamers.
But it's going to bring a lot of people who haven't really got that online social aspect. Through a lot of mental health stuff I've been through and done, I think that's going to be a massive thing for a lot of people who don't have no one to talk to.
It's not just all about bringing gamers together.
Well, welcome everybody back to the BFBS Pro League itself, and well, do you know what? It's one of those days you can sort of just fall at the back of your chair and sort of go, do you know what? I'm done. Because you know what, here, counting all the numbers with one win there, one loss there, you would need a mathematician here. Normally that's my job here, and you know what, even sometimes I'm going and sort of going, I'm actually lost here, let's get the abacus out, but thankfully, still, we've been informed that there's potential tiebreaker action and drama going around the scenes as well. We've talked about how close it is every week. You know what, this week seems to be exceeding the expectations so far.
Yeah, everywhere you look in every group, there's been some surprise results. There's been deadlock for first and second and third positions. And for example, Group B, oh my god, the Falcons, yes, they're clear 3 points ahead of the Tempest and the Orcas, but the Tempest and the Orcas, 12 points apiece. We'll have to see if there's going to be some kind of a tiebreaker between any of these two sides. The same goes for Deck Collectors and Sparrowhawks. If Sparrowhawks lose this game and Deck Collectors win, they will also be tied. So much drama yet to unfold. And well, stay tuned. Me and Danny will be doing our best, as we have always been, to keep you updated.
Well, both sides looking for their particular set of history as well, and both wits will be looking towards the moment itself here, because the RAF Storm Shadows has, certainly correctly here, never dropped a game in group stage. They have yet, however, to get past the quarterfinals, but that's tomorrow's problem. This is today's, however, and they would like to maintain that record, but do you know what? The opposition, they've got a matchup, they've got their own problems, and that's the sort of going, if we win here, avoid a tiebreaker, get into the top 8, and do you know what? They've done their job.
Tokyo Tears with a nice opening goal here for the Sparrowhawks. He read the shot, I think, but Tokyo played it so cleverly there, just to place low, read the clearance, deflect it home for 1-0 above the car of enemy. That's a good start for the Sparrowhawk. P rises high, plays it in towards Cedric. Cedric with a shot. Back down towards Cedric again. What a double touch onto the crossbar. How on earth did that stay out? But importantly for the Sparrowhawks, it did. And Fezzi looks to bring them out to try and counter-attack. But the Storm Shadows, not level yet. That's a good bit of defending there from the Sparrowhawks.
Certainly so. And the Storm Shadows, the side that we've been talking about, you know, almost consistently through each qualifiers, what they can do, what they can achieve, and you know, will they eventually hit that potential? So far, 1-0 down here in a game that, you know, on all accounts here, they should win and not be given much thought to. But the Sparrowhawks, I mean, they did surprise as they concede the second one. Here's the, you know, the Shadows beat them earlier today. So, you know, if you're going to be using this as a measuring stick, unless there's an issue here, something's drastically wrong here.
On the contrary, it's a fantastic start for the Sparrowhawks. I must admit, they're playing really well, and they've shocked the Storm Shadows here. They're off to such a quick start, 2 nice goals to settle them down as well, and they've just got to play smart Rocket League here, and they could have game 1 and 2 match points over the top seed in the RAF server.
Just shows you the twists and turns even in the group stage. When things have settled down, you can sort of take the acceleration off, but 3 sort of shots on target in the side of blue, the leading up the group, in theory secured in the top 8 comfortably, but they are 3 goals down in the opening.
He that time with a slight error, playing it off his own corner. Padster read it nicely. Sprung onto the loose ball and makes no mistake. So far, the Sparrowhawks have been so clinical, made the Storm Shadows pay for each and every mistake they've made. And I'm not gonna, I hate to say it, but they're looking comfortable right now.
Joe, I don't want to, sit here and say that the Storm Shadows, they can afford to take their sort of the scenic route here since they've done their job today. They know they're already through here, but every time we seem to have them on stream, they don't look comfortable. It's like they put themselves under so much pressure.
That is seemingly the case. There is one back there from Cedric, the captain of the Storm Shadows, leading by example, converting clinically, I must say. P, again, forcing a mistake from Tokyo Tears that time. And you don't give Cedric that much time from there. He will make you pay. 3-1, there's still a task, a sizable task for the Storm Shadows to overcome here. But as you say, you are right. And it pains me to say, but every time we have seen the Storm Shadows on stream, you're right, we haven't looked comfortable. We haven't looked at our best. I wonder if it's nerves, I wonder if it's pressure, or, living up to the expectation that there's being the best team in the Royal Air Force. Right now, it's the Sparrowhawks series to lose.
And so much sort of pressure onto maybe the Sparrowhawks is rising to the occasion against the series, 2 weeks ago when you looked at the game, the likes of the Shadows when they were in that sort of tussle between the two, sort of 3-0, 3-3 type score lines, back and forth it goes. They sort of thrived in the harshness conditions that, I don't want to describe doing Sparrowhawks like a cactus, but a prickly series, and they are that sort of type of customer. Envy, however, sticking one in here, so perhaps maybe this is the desert of, shall we say, dried emotions this game.
I like the analogy of a cactus there. They are quite a prickly, awkward side to play against the Sparrowhawks. They're technical, but they're also solid players in defense. They know how to rotate, they understand how the defensive side of the game works as well. And you can't underestimate them. That's a lovely play though from Cedric. 2 resets. P though unable to capitalize on the loose ball, and then he goes up in clears, looks to come off the ceiling. Can't quite hook his rear wheels there onto the ceiling, so meant that he lost momentum. P, good 50 with Tokyo Tears. They need one more goal here to complete the comeback. Bezzy, the lead of British Army Rocket League, gets a reset, couldn't quite use it though. Cedric's there on the loose ball. Envy, bit of a misjudgment. Padster goes up, looks for a musty flick, lands the musty flick. P has to be there. Nice defending from P as well. Cedric takes over the play. Can he find one more touch? He does. Fezzy there though, provides enough of a challenge to keep the pressure inside the Storm Shadows' defensive third. Padster, nice double touch, frees up Tokyo Tears. Can he find the double? Not that time. And the Storm Shadows survivors, they go into the final minute of action, needing a goal here.
Is the Sparrowhawks sort of game to lose? If they win this, they do themselves the utmost of favours here, and it depends on if it's head-to-head. It doesn't really matter, just get the win. If it does go to game differential eventually, 2-0, 2-1, it's a massive difference in a best of 3 as Cedric. His chances taken away here. The top side of the group here. The surprise, however, struggling to get the 2 goals that they did get. The third one, however, does creep across the line here. Perhaps, and this is the big perhaps, they've got themselves back where they need to be.
A goal from Cedric, but after fine work from P down the right-hand side, 2 flip resets he got in that play, knocks it central in such an awkward area for the Sparrows. They couldn't deal with it. Cedric, what a shot from the angle, and it meant the Storm Shadows are almost there. They're 1 goal away now from well and truly completing the comeback as Cedric searches for P on the right-hand side ball now. Plays it central. Padster's there though. P with a nice block. Can he follow it up and force a mistake from Tokyo? No, he can't. Tokyo holds his nerve. Cedric now with some defending to do. It's a lovely first touch. Cedric flies high, only as far as Fezzy. That was a golden opportunity though for the Sparrowhawks. They didn't make it happen. P, central. Envy's going to be there, knocks it to his left, in towards the top corner. It's away, and it bounces down. And we have one of our first overtimes of the evening.
It's been a rarity, but this game has provided, shall we say, the sort of match of the day type of feeling. It just needs that special moment here, and the Sparrowhawks gets it. Well, they might just be looking at the series win, and it will be a real tester for the Storm Shadows because they've yet to get over the line here in the sort of day 2. Essentially, they should be treating this as sort of an early preparation for the, shall we say, the top 8 that's awaiting them.
All the far as PP with a wonderful shot into the top left. And there it is. 4 consecutive goals for the RAF Storm Shadows. They started off slow. They started off tentative. Sparrowhawks took full advantage of that. But they couldn't maintain the composure. They couldn't maintain that lead. They allowed Storm Shadows back into it. I believe the first goal was a bit of an error. Storm Shadows took full advantage of that. Cedric with a crucial goal at the death to take us through overtime. And what a finish from P. Clinical into the top left. And the Storm Shadows take game 1.
Well, certainly so. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't want to give excuses. I'm not the type, as you know, still. But the Storm Shadows, didn't they not have a bye in the previous round here?
I believe so. I haven't looked at the previous games. I believe they did have a bye last round and were potentially a little bit cold. But as you say, we gave solutions already to teams that have the bye. There are methods around it. You can, either leave the desk and regain your composure that way, or you can go into free play. You can go into a warm-up scrim or even a ranked game. There's so many ways. And I don't think if you are the Storm Shadows, that can be an excuse. The important thing is, though, they recovered and they got game 1.
Game 1, and the Debt Collectors, who would be the first time of entering to the top 8, requires a bit of help and assistance here. But the Sparrowhawks, they're currently 1-0 down.
Great finish by Cedric. From that position, he can be so lethal. He does it time and time again in in-house scrims that I've watched him play into the Storm Shadows. That position, if he gets time on the backboard and a free space under the crossbar to drop it down, he will 9 times out of 10 score, unless you challenge him early, unless you don't give him the time and respect. Here, though, he's even more dangerous. There he goes, over Tokyo Tears, who does really well to claw back the save. Envy looks for P, and it's a good, solid rotation now for the Storm Shadows. But again, they get counter-attacked, and Cedric with some work to do, he does it really well. Good defensive work, and the Storm Shadows lead persists.
The soft touch blocked, it goes by Frizz. Envy will continue and should be concerning this whipping at middle, but the rotation by the Storm Shadow was stretched. The strain was truly on it, but they have regathered here, and the elasticity of the attack continues, and P eventually bulldozes in for 2-0.
Cedric, again, the architect of the Sparrowhawks' downfall, creating the opportunity, creating the space. P again follows up on it wonderfully, forces it into the top left, and the Storm Shadows lead.
There's Envy continuing for maybe goal number. I think they might want that one back there.
Smart kickoff, and Envy took the risk, followed it, and Fezzi, unfortunately, you saw him there get a decisive touch into the back of his own net, though. He had to go for the ball. He had to go for it. There was not a world there where he would have been able to know, unless he has unbelievable judgment and depth perception, that ball was going to hit the crossbar. He went for it. And sometimes, Danny, it can just backfire on you, as it did for that time.
It's that sort of look at you sort of have to laugh and move on and sort of shake it off, but hard to do when you're sort of chasing the series.
Indeed, and it's a crucial. Remember, the Jaffa's team, debt collectors, as you can see in the Twitch chat, their result depends, their qualification depends on if the Sparrowhawks lose here. So now I see why Jaffa is cheering loudly for the Storm Shadows in this particular game. So that could see debt collectors as seed number 26 progress into the top 8. Time will tell. Still time on the clock here for Sparrowhawks to make something happen. But as that clock ticks and ticks and ticks, it becomes less and less likely. The Storm Shadows have certainly turned on their game. And finally, Danny, I'm sure you'll agree, look a lot more comfortable.
Certainly do. And that will just be potentially looking at it. But with things moving across here, and should be interesting to see what things do develop here. As, Cedric just having a shot, this glances a bit wide here, and it's one of those ones here, if you're sort of the Sparrowhawks, you're going, what can we do here? It's just nothing being moved around here, and essentially happen. What can you do, or what can you sort of pull and drag out of situations? And at the moment here, Sparrowhawks don't have an answer for it, and it's unfortunate, but you're playing against a top 4 side outright here.
Cedric will have to climb to this one really quickly. Tokyo Tears was there. It was a good battle between the two of them. He comes away with the ball onto the backboard. Fezzy with a lovely skim read into Tokyo Tears now. Finds passes. Good build-up play from the Sparrowhawks. They didn't capitalize, and P will rise high again. Knocks it down. Fezzy with a good save. Envy takes over. Knocks it central. Fezzy lets that one go. It's awkward now for the Sparrowhawks, but Fezzy relieves the pressure, and up comes Tokyo Tears. One more thrust needed now from the Sparrowhawks. There is still time for them, as it stands, to get back into this game. It needs to come now, though. The goal needs to happen some way, somehow, quickly as possible. I think a goal before the minute mark here, Danny, and they've got a chance, but anything other than that, and I think it'll be a Storm Shadows win, and P surely makes all but sure now. Minute and 34 on the clock. I think that one's done.
I do have to agree with you, and I think, sir, you know, the Sparrowhawks will be looking at it and sort of just be resigned to the fact here. You know, you're talking about sort of 90% plus or win rate here in those situations when you're 4-0 up here with the time remaining, and you know, as much as you know we could be hypercritical of the Storm Shadows over the last sort of 2 qualifiers and how their particular runs end, they're not dropping 4 goals in this situation here.
No, it's certainly not, and they'll know that they're in control now. There you can see them turning on the style a little bit as Envy goes for a shot, places it bottom left. And by the way, Danny, if you didn't already know, Envy has finally surpassed the 2k MMR point in 2s.
Who has?
Envy. Yeah, he's been, you know, he's topped over 1,400 games this season, and the hard work is beginning to really pay off for Envy. His improvement is there for all to see, especially in 2s. Maybe got a bit of work to do in 3s, of course, but you know, 3s is a totally different ballgame. But you can see there expressing himself off the post, almost responding to what I was saying. But unfortunately for him, that magical piece of solo play doesn't end up in a goal, though P's attempt may still. But Fezzy with another save as the constant Storm Shadows pressure. Will it resolve in a goal? Not that time, and P's shot just wide.
Yeah, and well, sort of the 2k player Envy now, which is going to be probably the storyline for most people hearing that particular player and name. I've just been informed here, I've got the wrong Jaffa as well from Debt Collector. So, you know, any excuse clearly to talk about myself, that's clearly the only reason why I brought it up, but, you know, there's like 3 or 4 different pandas, of which one of them was again decently, top 64 in the last qualifiers or something like that. Went in the collegiate, which is what university level, went very far there. But, you know, clearly 2 or 3 different Jafas, and, you know. Why does everybody have the same name still?
It could happen, you know, it could happen. I mean, there was no way for you to know. I mean, thankfully Jaffa was able to verify it for us.
And here's me bigging it up that he was a good player. So nothing wrong there?
Well, you may have made Jaffa's day in another regard, sorry, because the Storm Shadows have now confirmed their win, which means the Sparrowhawks are officially eliminated, I believe, from Group C and do not progress to the top 8. And for Debt Collectors, who started off the seed as seed number 28, progress now, and that is a phenomenal result for them. They will be absolutely buzzing. And that, I believe, Danny, might have been our last game on stream today.
Potentially, we'll get a double check here for the admins, but are you confident that's them knocked out here?
I believe it goes down to head-to-head now between Debt Collectors and Sparrowhawks, and I think head-to-head favours potentially Debt Collectors. I could be wrong, obviously. We'll find this out and confirm with you all. Actually, so we could even hang around for that and just discuss the other groups potentially. But that was a big result, and that's why Jaffa was in the chat for that one, cheering on the Storm Shadows. He'll be delighted with that one. As will indeed the Storm Shadows. I mean, they started off very rough and went down 3-0 to the Sparrowhawks. They started off brilliantly, but you can't just start off well. You've got to finish. You've got to maintain your momentum and see games through, especially when you're 3 goals to the good up. They couldn't manage it against a resilient Storm Shadow side who came back. And I think, Danny, it's fair to say, from the moment it was 3-3, the pressure and, you know, it was all the Storm Shadows at that point, and it was their game to lose.
Certainly, and you know, when you are, you know, a dominant side on paper, you know, you don't, you know, have that sense of, and most teams will have that when they see their name into the bracket, sort of going, oh, you know, you don't have to say anymore. It's just, oh. And that's what the RAF Storm Shadows have about themselves. There's very few teams that could sit there and go, we can beat you. The Falcons and probably no Boosters Vibes is the only two that can sit there, maybe Omnia in the conversation. But we'll certainly talk more about that on tomorrow's broadcast as well. But still, there is still, by my count here, it seems to be I've been losing the ability to add and subtract here. 5 more qualifiers, if I'm correct in saying, coming across the month of June and July.
Well, 5 more qualifiers, so many more points up for grabs. We're not even halfway yet. So, if some of the teams that haven't made top 8 yet, you can still enter, you can still, and this goes out to anybody that even thinks they can better some of the teams that they're seeing in the top 8. There is so much time for you to still enter the Pro League from Qualifier 4 onwards and really make an impact. And, every point counts. Even finishing 7th, 8th, 6th, 5th is valuable points over teams that aren't yet able to score. And of course, Danny, another important factor that we need to account for is availability. Now, this is military Rocket League, and we all live quite, nomadic lifestyles. Sometimes a team might just not be able to make it, like the RAF Hurricanes, for example, today. The RAF's 4th best team, unable to play and fulfill Qualifier 4 due to working requirements. It is what it is, and they may not be, I guarantee you, they won't be the only team or the last team to suffer from that fate. Potentially the Storm Shadows as well, may not even be able to play Qualifier 7 as it stands, unless for some subs. So many variables. You may as well put yourself in the hat for as long as you possibly can. Aim to score some points. And who knows, you may find yourself in that top 8 come the end of it.
Well, certainly so, and I believe the last couple of results have slowly trickled on in, and you know what, we might as well briefly go down the sort of the lineups here at the moment, and I think we just got one result coming on through, which is Omidia. Joe, it's somewhat feeling sort of like the Eurovision here, sort of going, Sweden, have you got your votes ready for a sort of type moment here? But, Group B was also another sort of conversation. I suppose we might want to sort of start here still, that the Tempest potentially could be knocked out here.
Believe it, if they are going to be knocked out, it is going to be head-to-head. So, yeah, that is 4 games to 1. 1 a loss for Tempest and 4 games to 1 for the Royal Navy Orcas. So they're both tied on 12 points. And I believe the first point of interest between a tiebreaker is head-to-head. Now, of course, we know the Royal Navy Orcas did beat the Tempests. So I think that'll be them through. So much, Danny, to decipher between now and tomorrow to see top 8s as these results continue to power through. And I will throw it over to you to close us out one more time. I mean, again, from me, a massive thank you to everyone that's tuned in, everybody that's been chatting. And I've got to give my thanks again to BFBS for, again, this wonderful platform that we can call the BFBS Pro League. Rocket League this time around. Who knows what game will be next? I'll be tuning in no matter what. And, of course, to the Lossy Mouth Phantoms Esports Arena for hosting me in this wonderful venue. I mean, I'm looking over it now. It's something that all other arenas should aspire to. It is absolutely amazing in here. So from myself, it's a good night, and we'll see you all tomorrow for the top 8. And over to you, Danny, one last time.
There's nothing else more to say. Day 2, tomorrow, we'll see who the champion is going to be. Good night.
I'm Dan Penter.
My name is Mark Langton.
I'm Peter.
My name is Staff Sergeant Richie Rees. My gamer tag is Chief Lid.
Gamer tag is Pete P Gaming.
My gamer tag I play under is SG_Reaper.
My gamer tag is Max Chat. I think the thing I'm looking forward to